McCloskey. I wanna scream for G.O.P. I wanna sit with Dan Bongino. I wanna show the American flag. Hangs behind the toilet in Grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks like Dan Bongino. Grandma tries to tell me not to go down there, but I would be safe with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna see Patricia McCloskey. I wanna scream for the G.O.P. I wanna sit with Dan Bongino. I wanna show the American flag that hangs behind the toilet in Grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks like Dan Bongino. Grandma tries to tell
Who's ready to put president?
go down there, but I would be safe with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna hold hands with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. 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 I wanna be like Dan Bongino.
Hello, everybody. How we all doing? I wanna be at the RNC. What is this? Oh, are you not familiar with the RNC song memes? Here.
I wanna
Vic, a true crime podcast.
I can't play that.
I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna see Patricia
That's
McCloskey.
Dolores.
I wanna scream for the
That's the
G.O.P.
wrong channel.
I wanna sit with Dan
There we go.
Bongino. I wanna show the American flag. Hangs behind the toilet in Grandma's basement. I wanna ask him if he'll be my dad. I wanna change my name to Nick Bongino. I wanna tell him about the man in the stairs. He kinda looks like Dan Bongino. Grandma tries to tell me not to go down there, but I would be safe with Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino. I wanna be at the RNC. I wanna be like Dan Bongino.
Anyway, it's a reference to this song, which is an upbeat melody about a desperately lonely man who identifies Dan Bongino too much as his dad, and also apparently lives in a house where there are men under the stairs who look suspiciously like Dan Bongino. Yes, the Joe Biden's gonna take your meat guy. Yes. That was Real Nick Lutzko. You should all go subscribe to his channel. Here you go. So, again, For the people who are coming in and asking, why would you want to be at the RNC? It's a reference to a silly song. You got blocked by Matt Dillahunty? I saw you arguing with him. That was weird. Nick Let's Go lore goes hard. I just want you to know I read the stream title and immediately in the tune of the song. Excellent. I like his music unironically. I love his music unironically. So, not gonna lie, the reason you guys are getting a late stream today is because I woke up today and just saw a series of headlines that made me want to cry, and I felt panic welling up in my gut. And I just, well, frankly, here's the order of events. I went back to my house, had to find like the stuff to get my passport, you know, because I need, you need your like your birth certificate and like your social security card or whatever. You need a bunch of stuff. So I went to go find those, and of course, all of those things are in the same like box as like all of like the cards that my family wrote to me over the years, and I saw them and it made me really sad. So it was like today it was like a combo of sadness and panic. And then literally every time I opened Twitter, like it was another new thing that just made me either insanely furious or full of panic. So like today's just been all emotions, maximum capacity. So if I'm a little tired or drained, that would be why. So you mean Sanic? I don't know what that means. Sounds like a hard combo of emotions. Yes. So that's why I'm starting stream at 12:30 in the morning. Oh. Sadness plus I see what you did there. But I figure we're gonna do oh god. We're gonna do a couple of things. Because guys, the RNC is happening. So we gotta take a look at some of what went down at the RNC.
Be gone.
Fenry, thank you for gifting yourself a sub. The pleasure of subbing to Riverboat Jack. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. But we're gonna be looking at the RNC, but Biden also did 2 interviews today, and we're gonna go with the first. We're gonna start with that before we get to the RNC. I do want to preface it by telling you guys that if you haven't seen anything about this first interview, it's gonna make you mad. It made me really mad. So I'm prefacing it by letting you guys know it's gonna make you upset. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where like, you know, you open the paper bag in your fridge that says dead dove, and there's a dead dove in it, and you're like, what you know, that very relatable scenario. And he also sat down with Lester Holt a few hours ago. Let's start though.
Do you know what
with this one. This is posted by Complex. And this is the President Biden interview 360 with Speedy. So let's see, folks. Just brace yourselves, because I know at least one quote from this. Why is a dead dove in the fridge? I'm making too many references for you guys this stream. It's from Arrested Development. Go watch the show. It's good.
What is Zionism?
I just ask questions, I don't answer. What's going on, guys? Speedy here from Complex. It is July 12th, 2024, and we are in Detroit, Michigan right now, just a few months out from the November 2024 presidential election. With that, President Joe Biden has agreed to sit with us for an interview right here on 360. The presumptive Republican nominee and former President Donald Trump has also received an invitation for our show. But until then, here is President Joe Biden. What's going on, guys? I'm Speedy, and the name of this show is 360 with Speedy, and today I am joined by the sitting 46th President of the United States, President Joe Biden. What's up, man? How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
I'm incredibly honored. I've heard that you've never had a drink in your life. Is this true?
That's true. I may be Irish, but I'm the only Irish never met that's never had a drink.
Ever? Well,
Ever.
This is straight vodka here for us, so we can just get
Well,
comfortable.
that's why I brought along tea.
Nah, I'm just playing. I'm just
I'm
playing.
teasing.
We'll move quick because we don't have that much
He's so quick on his feet.
time. But President Biden, you're getting up there, man. 81 years old. You'll be 82 at the time of the inauguration if you're reelected, 86 at the end of that presidential term. Some people are concerned that maybe you shouldn't be in this race. Are you 100% undoubtedly running for reelection?
1,000%.
1,000%. Why?
Can he stop whispering his answers? I know it's a small thing, but
Maybe you shouldn't be in this race. Are you 100% undoubtedly running for reelection?
1,000%.
1,000%.
that is not the kind of answer that instills a lot of confidence in a viewer.
Why?
You got to finish the job. Look, for the
I
long,
want one solitary person, one on camera, to ask, finish what job? Joe, are you the last? Are you the last president of the United States? But in a different way, like if someone called you the last president of the United States right now without any additional context, it would be like, oh, because Trump is going to end the United States as we know it, and usher in a new era. Or are you saying that you're going to be the last president of the United States after your second term when an unspecified event happens, like say the aliens come and unite Earth into some kind of federation? Or are you implying there's some kind of cataclysm, like an asteroid that's about to hit Earth and destroy us all, and you're just trying to maintain calm in the final years before the apocalypse? Look, I just want to know what's happening. What's happening, Joe? 1,000%.
longest time, I was either told I was too young because I got elected to the Senate. The second youngest man in the history of the Senate.
Okay, I do have to say, Trains and Bullshit, Finish the Job is gold. That's gold. That should be on a shirt.
To get elected, and that I'm too old. But hopefully I've demonstrated with age comes a little wisdom. I've gotten, I'm presumptuous to say this, but I got more done than almost any president has in one term. And we got more to do. And, Donald Trump, I think, is, I said from the beginning when I ran in 2020, that he's a real danger to the country, to our democracy. But I didn't plan on running because in 2020, when Barack asked me to be vice president, I joined him, which is a great honor. And
Guys, he's not doing so hot.
After that, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. In the meantime, my son, who was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware, was in the National
Have a
Guard.
laugh
He
on
was the
me.
Attorney General.
Thank you for the $5 dono, Paladin.
General of the state, elected, and he was one of the most fit guys in his unit, and ended up with stage 4 glioblastoma and died. So I didn't want any part of running, and wasn't going to do it until I watched on television what happened down in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
And when Trump said, when it was asked, what, this young woman was killed, what do you think about this? He said, I think there are good people on both sides.
Yep.
That's when I decided I was going to run.
You said yesterday at the press conference that you would only drop out if the polls showed, quote, no way to win. What are those conversations with Vice President?
Wait, did I not say Archangel? I'm sorry, my brain is fried today. I've been so sad. But thank you very much for the $5 dono.
President Kamala Harris been like? Do you feel as if she's up for the challenge?
Oh, I think she is. She's first rate. I wouldn't have picked her otherwise. And she was a hell of a prosecutor. She was a great senator.
Are more Democrats calling on Biden to
she's
step
first
down?
rate.
The answer is it's complicated.
And I think she's qualified.
One of the biggest criticisms of your presidency has been inflation. Ironically enough, the shoes that I'm wearing right now are called the Air Force One. They used to be $90. Now they're $115. A dozen eggs cost $4 now. Who's to say that if you were reelected, these pair of shoes right here wouldn't cost $130, or a dozen eggs wouldn't cost $8?
Every major economist in the world, 16 Nobel laureates on the economy, said I've done an incredible job.
This is not Lester Holt. This is a different interview that happened earlier in the day.
It was 9% when I got it. It's down to 3%. It's going to go down to 2%. We have the strongest economy in the world. We still have to focus on the cost of things that matter to people. Corporate greed has increased. Before the pandemic, you had the corporate profits have doubled since the pandemic. And it's time there's an end to it. I mean, it's just greed. And so I've been working really hard to make sure everything from
The difficult thing about these interviews is that, I don't have problems with the substance of what he's saying. The issue is everything else. It's the presentation. It's the sitting on pins and needles to see if he can actually get through the interview. This is what's scaring me and many other people. It's not Joe Biden's ideas that are bad, that people dislike. It's his physical performance here.
a dozen eggs to your shoes cost less. I mean, there's things we can do to control. And you have outfits like Walgreens and the major food distributors in America now saying they're cutting prices.
Yeah, Target was one as well.
And so I think we're moving in the right direction. And by the way, everybody said we could never do what we did in the economy. We have the strongest economy in the world.
It's hard to tell a person in middle America that we have the strongest economy when they're going to buy a loaf of bread and they feel like that price has increased. You're attributing economists, but just to the everyday person who's just going to work every day.
That's the household I grew up in. My dad used to have an expression, a job's a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity, respect, what you have at the end of the month.
We're getting dangerously close to Boomhauer territory of mumbling.
And the fact of the matter is, I grew up in a household, a split-level home with a development that was 38 homes, built the same homes, with 4 kids and a grandpa living with us. And so we didn't have anything left at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And it's all about giving people a shot. Prices are coming down. They got more to go. And again, we have to. I think I have the authority with Congress. Will be cooperative. I think you're going to see gas prices come down a little bit more. I think you're going to see the idea that We're going to be able to deal with rent. We're going to be able to deal with housing costs. And we have to move, I mean, look at what's happened with healthcare. Look what happened in education. I was able to forgive the debt for, 5 million people, college debt. But the court tried to stop me, and I found a way to do it. But it's...
Yeah, I do like that he's incorporating more progressive rhetoric into his answers here, but like, it's kind of, again, the issue is even this course correction, or maybe like influence from like AOC and Bernie, maybe this is like an attempt he's doing to try and shore up support. But I gotta say, again, the issue isn't the substance.
It's a constant struggle, and we have to move in the direction of giving average working class people a shot and young people a shot.
For sure.
By the way, more young people got to start businesses because I provided money for them to start the businesses than ever before. More young people got started and made able to move what they did in terms of jobs and opportunities.
Honestly, Gamer G, at this point, all Biden needs to do is make it through the nomination process, and then he can sleep in the forever box. Because, like, after he becomes the nominee, like, if he were to pass away, like, it all goes to Kamala. You know, the entire operation.
These are wages. Wages are outstripping inflation now.
Hey, Reed.
But there's more to do. And again, it relates to corporate greed.
For sure. At the end of his...
He chose J.D. Vance. Yeah, I told you guys he was going to do that. I told you he was going to do that.
presidency, former President Trump pardoned some hip-hop artists, Lil Wayne, Kodak Black. He seems to have an allegiance from musical artists, particularly in hip-hop. Why do you think that is?
Well,
Hey, Alt Fact, are you coming in to be silly? Like, are you silly goose posting, or are you annoying posting? Remember, consider carefully.
I'm not sure he has that allegiance, number one. Number two, if you look at his record in terms of African Americans and minorities, it's abysmal the way he handles everything. And but the answer is, I don't know if he has hip-hop artists that are supportive of him. But I know that I got started in politics because of the African American community. When I was a kid, I was a young man in high school and college. My state was segregated by law. I got involved in the movement, and the reason I got elected when I was 29 from a very modest background was because of the black community. Every election that I ran, and whether it was an on year or off year, I got over 90% of the black vote, and the number of folks participating didn't slow down because it didn't reduce. So look, Trump. No, I shouldn't.
I mean, look, if you want to live in an alternate reality where, like, he doesn't have a huge PR nightmare on his hands right now with how he's presenting himself in these interviews, like, that's on you. Don't get mad at me for pointing it out. Don't shoot the messenger here. I'm just pointing out what literally everyone else is concerned about. Jesus Christ.
There are some people who've made their mind up, and they've decided that they are voting for former President Trump. What do you say to those people?
Lots of luck in your senior year. Come on. Look, what has he done for the youth of America? What has he done? He says he's elected, he's going to get rid of the ability to forgive student debt.
Yeah, look, I don't make up the rules for how the president gets chosen. I'm sorry. I don't make up the rules for what, like, our culture perceives when they see people, like, on a stage. You know what? Can a short king go out there and make a compelling electoral argument? Sure. But should we pretend that he's not going to be facing an uphill battle because of public perception due to his height? No, you need to acknowledge these things. God. It's not rocket science. It's just, unfortunately, where we're at. It's the shitty deck we're given when we talk about media perception.
What has he done for education? What he wants to eliminate the Department of Education. What has he done when he was president? Tell me. What has he done to help young people in America? What has he done to deal with racism? What has he done to deal with the fact that you had the way in which African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans are treated? I mean, what has he done?
Your stance and support for Israel has been unwavering. During the debate, you said that we are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. You also said that we're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. Back in April, $26 billion in aid was sent or was approved to be sent to Israel. Why?
I said defensive weapons. I denied them.
Yeah, that's why you unfroze that shipment of 500-pound bombs like 2 days ago.
Offensive weapons that they were using, 2,000-pound bombs and the rest, because I made it real clear. They cannot use weapons that we provide them to, in fact, use in civilian areas.
You bastard! They literally bombed a designated safe zone like yesterday, killing like 12 people with one bomb. It's disgusting. It's just, but you know, it's labeled defensive because they were targeting one of the head leaders of Hamas in that civilian safe zone that, you know, was populated by people in tents, and like the majority of the people killed were children. But, you know, like, they needed that 500-pound munition. How else were they going to take him out? And the kicker? They don't even think they got him. Last I saw, they couldn't confirm whether they actually got the guy. They dropped a huge bomb and killed tons of civilians to try and kill. So, cool job, Joe. Good timing on this interview. Honestly, Paladin, it would not surprise me if he was actually sending the 2-ton bombs.
And that's why I put together this plan.
My question, though, is why is your and United States at the current moment support for Israel so strong?
Look, Israel.
Hey, alt fact, I'm just giving you a verbal warning because I'm like extraordinarily irritable tonight. Okay, bye. Fuck off.
If there weren't an Israel, every Jew in the world would be at risk.
Like, I'm sorry, if you're gonna try and test me on a day when I've already explained my frame of mind, no, you can fuck off. If you want to put in an unban request tomorrow, go for it. Otherwise, don't bother. Fuck off. I don't care how long you've supported me, how long you've been in this community. If you're going to treat me with that level of disrespect, after I have repeatedly given you warnings, after mods have repeatedly given you warnings, on an issue that is, I'm sorry, just blatantly obvious. I'm just calling it like people see it. There's an image issue here. This interview isn't helping. I'm sorry you don't understand that or are so butthurt about hearing that point being made that you can't understand who's on your side and are just deciding to be a dick to everyone. Sorry. Get out of here. Cool off. And, you know, if you don't want to come back, that's fine. God. Someone's clowning in all of the chats.
Every Jew in the world be at risk. And so there's a need for it to be strong and a need for Israel to be able to have, after World War II, the ability for Jews to have a place that was their own. But you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. And the Zionist is about whether or not Israel is a safe haven for Jews because of their history of how they've been persecuted.
Are you a Zionist?
Yes. Now,
But you know, you brought up that he's old and how that's a big problem. But you're also bringing up the fact that he's, you know, enabling a genocide and bragging about it and aligning with the genociders in this interview. So, you know, like, yeah, but I'm the asshole here.
you'll be able to make a lot out of that because people don't know what a Zionist is.
He can't even fucking enunciate the word Zionist. Like, he's being evil in real time in this interview. He can't even mumble it properly. I'm sorry.
History of how they've been persecuted.
Are you a Zionist?
Yes. Now, you'll be able to make a lot out of that because people don't know what a Zionist is. You know what a
Zionist is.
I just ask questions, I don't answer.
By the way, I'm the guy that did more for the Palestinian community than anybody. I'm the guy that opened up all the assets. I'm the guy that made sure that I got the Egyptians to open the border to let goods through, medicine and food but what's happening is, and I'm the guy that's been able to pull together the Arab states to agree to help the Palestinians with food and shelter. I'm the guy, and so it's not. I mean, I've been very supportive of the Palestinians. But Hamas.
Yeah. Have you? You've been very supportive of them. That's why you've been sending bombs that have mostly killed children. That you tried to build a pier that didn't work. You've continued to arm Israel even after, like, it's been demonstrated for months, and the UN has now confirmed that there is a state of famine across the entirety of Gaza. You still send them the weapons. This is insane. Does it matter which presidential candidate I vote for? Unfortunately, yes.
They're a bunch of thugs. Hamas is not worthy to. I was over there about 8 days after.
Yeah, it's true. Hamas isn't worthy to be their leadership. But guess what? Putin's not worthy to be in the leadership of Russia. You know, Kim Jong-un, not worthy to be in the leadership of North Korea. But we don't get to decide these things. Like, unfortunately. Like, and I think we don't get to decide them if the cost of changing them means, you know, mostly dead children.
After the massacre, saw photographs of mothers and daughters being tied in a rope together, kerosene poured in their head, and then burned to death. Nothing's happened like that since the Holocaust. And it's just not appropriate.
By the measure of your support for Israel, why would a Muslim or an Arab American vote for you for re-election?
The same reason why Arab Americans in the region support me. The same reason why, because it's the best way to keep peace, the best way to put things together.
That is one of the stupidest answers I've ever heard in my life. Why would Arab Americans want to vote for you? The same reason Arab world leaders support me. They support you because you are an imperial hegemon, and they are trying to get concessions out of you from the imperial core. Like, that's why they show you deference. That's not the same dynamic as your relationship to a citizen, I would hope.
To make sure that there is a two-state solution in the region. And I've been a strong supporter of that. And everything I've done has been, I've gotten significant support from Arab countries in the region as well. For look, the idea here is that, for example, I got a call from the Saudis. They want to fully recognize Israel. In return, if the United States will give them a guarantee that they will provide weapons if they're attacked by other Arab nation, the one just around the corner, and that we'd allow them to, we would
Hey,
put a civilian nuclear facility there weed operator.
I'm not doing
military
well, but
weed
thank you.
operator, so they can move away from fossil fuels. That's a big game changer in the whole region. I've worked with El Sisi of Egypt. I've worked with the King of Jordan as a friend. So I've been able to work with the Arab countries very well. And I don't have a prejudiced bone in my body. The Arabs are good people. They need help now.
Oh boy. The Arabs are good people.
They need help.
Immigration is what many consider a big issue in America right now. During the debate, former President Trump said that immigrants are coming into our country and taking black jobs. In your opinion, what is a black job?
A black job is the same as a white job, the same as any other job. But you know what he means by black job.
What does he mean?
He means menial labor. That's what he thinks.
The same as what job?
What is a black job?
A black job is the same as a white job, the same as any other job. But you know what he means by black job.
Same as job? What the fuck?
Job is the same as a white job, the same as any other job. But you know what he means by black job.
What does he
He
mean?
means menial labor. That's what he thinks. You know, he thinks he's going to sell golden shoes, sneakers, and that's somehow.
Same as any other
Look,
job, yeah.
He has no notion at all what constitutes. I mean, the idea that there'd be support for him and talking about how they're taking black jobs. They're not taking. Look, there's a reason why we are the most advanced nation in the world, the most progressive nation in the world, why our economy is the biggest. We're the only nation in the world that isn't xenophobic. Why is India?
What? Your predecessor literally won an election on the premise of building a wall to keep people out. What do you mean we're not xenophobic?
Why are all these other countries not doing better?
Do you feel like there's no xenophobia in America?
There is xenophobia, but not our policy. Not on.
What? Have you not been watching as like southern conservative states have been busing like immigrants to like other states? Like what?
On me is not a xenophobia in America, because look what I did when we worked out a deal with a bipartisan deal to change the relationship and the regulations relative to the border, and it was Republican and Democrat, and I supported it. Trump got on the phone and called people and said, "Don't do it because it'll make Biden look good and me look bad." So that's when I took executive action. Took executive action working with the president of Mexico. Guess what? The number of people seeking to come into the country is down lower than it was at any time when he was president. And guess what? The same thing is happening where our economy is growing because we have 10,000 people, women or men, married to an American citizen, been here 10 years, and still can't get a green card. I changed that. That's one of the reasons. And anyway, I could go on, but.
I asked this question in an effort to show the younger generation that we have to coexist. So in the event that former President Trump wins this election, what is something that you feel he will do well?
I'm not being facetious. I can't think of a single thing. I'm serious. Think what his what his objective is. It is totally anti-democratic. He says that he wants to be a dictator on day one. He means it. He says he will not recognize the outcome of the next election. He made up. I beat him by 7 million votes, and he went to, I think, 20 appeals to the court, all the way to the Supreme Court. Not one court said there was a single scintilla of evidence that he had. And what did he do then? January 6th, he got up and he encouraged people to go up and riot. Policemen were killed. People were wounded. People were hurt. The place was smashed up. They were hanging. Anyway, what did he do? He sat there in the dining room off of the Oval Office, watched it for 3 hours, didn't say a damn thing. And now he says if he loses, there'll be a bloodbath? Name me a president in American history said anything like that. One in all of American history. Name me one.
I ask this because it's a question that I've asked every guest that's ever been on the show. A quick Google search shows that your net worth is $10 million. Is that accurate?
I don't think so, but they're talking about the possibility. For 36 years, I listed the poorest man in the United States Congress. 36 years.
You were the poorest man?
Poorest man of all 535 members of Congress.
I don't believe that. I'm Googling that. That's a fact check right here. Let's see. Okay, he said this back in 2019. Biden's campaign sent us a 1974 Delaware newspaper article. It has incomplete figures on Biden's finances, and they compare him only to the two other members of the state's congressional delegation at the time. We looked for outside data on this point and did not find much, but indications are Biden didn't have much wealth. Roll Call, the Capitol Hill newspaper, has done wealth rankings, but only for members of Congress and dating back only to 1990. Center for Responsive Politics provided us a 1973 summary of financial disclosures made by only some members of the House and Senate. It was published by Congressional Quarterly. Let's see. So it's hard to say anything concrete about the actual net worth in 1973. No listed securities here for Biden, like there are for other members. The summary: Biden reported outside income in 1973 of $6,050 from all from speeches. Okay. So he was featured in a ranking of wealth 2005, 2006, and 2007. He ranked near the bottom, 570th in 2005. Okay, so this is kind of true. Though for a lot of it, we just don't have a ton of info. So maybe? Yeah, okay. Okay, wait a minute. Because officials report their assets and liabilities on official forms as ranges, the rankings use estimates. Biden's estimated net worth. I need to check this. In 2005, how on earth did they arrive at this number? He had an okay, no, for real. So in 2014, Open Secrets says that Joe Biden was worth an estimated this is 2005, was worth an estimated negative $47,000, $494 on top of that. So he was in debt $47,000. I don't think so. I don't think the man from Delaware, all right, was actually underwater $47,000. I don't believe that. I think this is a case of like, oh yeah, on paper I have negative $47,000, but actually I have, $2 million in bonds squirreled away. Because there's no way. This is like one of those situations where like Donald Trump was like hundreds of millions of dollars in debt, but he was still like, living the high life. I don't believe this. If this is true, I would want to hear him explain this in great detail, how he arrived at being worth less than $0 after like 40 years in the Senate.
Poorest. I didn't feel poor. What I had was my salary. It was a decent salary.
What were you making at the time?
I think it was started off at 42,000, ended up at 100 and something. But look, after my wife and daughter were killed, I wasn't going to stay in the Senate. But a group of senators, Republican, Democrat, came to me and said, look, stick around, just stay 6 months. Help us out, organize. I was so stupid, I didn't realize they didn't need me to organize. We had elected over 58 Democrats. And we had elected a Democratic governor to appoint a Democrat. But I said, okay. And they probably saved my sanity. But what I realized was I could no more afford child care than fly. No way I could do it. And there's no way I could rent a place in Washington and keep my home in Delaware. So I started to commute every single day. And that's what I did because I couldn't afford to, and I had family. You know, there's so many damn heroes out there. Went through what I went through, don't have family. My sister and her husband sold their home, got out of their apartment, moved in to help me raise my kids. My brother was an old farmhouse I bought. My brother in a little barn fixed it up and lived with me. Took care of my kids. Every day I dropped my kids off at my mom's on the way to school, on their way to school. And so, you know, it's tough for people. That's why, you know, all the programs that I've initiated have saved the government money. Saved the government money. By the prescription drug, taking on drug companies, I've saved $160 billion over 10 years. And we're going to save a hell of a lot more. We're in a situation where when you put women, you give women and men who don't have options for caregiving, and you make them available, it grows the economy. They're able to work. So we're looking at this backwards. And I think if you take a look at what most economists and all mainstream economists are saying about my program. Remember when I got elected? We were going to have a catastrophe. We'd never get out of the hole that Trump left us in, the disaster we had. Well, guess what? We're having a soft landing, as they say. We have the leading. Now we have to focus on the needs of ordinary middle-class people and poor working folks to be able to afford everything from your sneakers all the way to eggs and butter and bread.
Well said. Mr. President, thank you so much.
Can I just one thing? Again, another superficial quality.
Poor working folks to be able to afford everything from your sneakers all the way to eggs and butter and bread.
Well said.
Just the difference in their voice volume here says a lot. You know, like that's something people pick up on. Like he's whisper talking, guys.
Mr. President, thank you so much.
All the way to eggs and butter and bread.
Well said. Mr. President, thank you so much for taking the time.
Eggs and butter and bread. Well said. You know, like it's not good. And when I say it's not good, again, it's not like a knock on his substance or his ideas or his abilities as like a lawmaker. It's when we're talking about public perception. That's the issue. You know? I mean, there's like a couple more seconds.
We will 1,000%, in your words, see you on the ballot this November.
Unless I get hit by a train, yeah.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Why did he say that like he knew something?
For your safety's concerned. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, it's about surface level voters. It's about the voters that aren't already locked in. You know, like each side has like a base that is locked in and is going to turn out the vote. Everything that we're talking about here is people who are in the middle, you know? People who are like, you know, the superficial voters, the people who make up their minds the day of. You know? This is the margin of people we're talking about when we're talking about advertising, you know? Like, a lot of people who think that advertising doesn't work on them, it does. You know, it helps, it moves your decision making, you know? And on a large scale, it can move the decision making of a lot of people. So the issue here is that you need to think about all of this kind of the same way you would an advertisement. What messaging are his appearances sending to people who are just kind of sort of paying attention, you know? And it's just not good. It's not attractive advertising. It's not effective. And that's a problem when you're talking about a general election where we're trying to turn out the most people. For the record, I think Joe is fucked at the next debate. Where is the hope? Well, see, that's what I was struggling with all day. It's the panic in my gut. I feel like the news has been pretty overwhelmingly negative over the past week or two, really since that debate. That debate was a real turning point. And more polling came out today showing Joe Biden's struggling, okay? Joe Biden is struggling. Let me see if I can pull this up here. This one? Yeah. No, wait, no, this is... No, I need the polling that dropped today. Come on. God, this sucks. I didn't prep this. But I will pull this out. Only 33% of the Democratic base is satisfied with Joe Biden. Versus 71% of Republicans. It is the difference is kind of breathtaking, frankly. Was it the YouGov one? The YouGov one was particularly devastating, yes. I know there was also an NBC one that came out, but... yeah, here we go. So here we have Trump and Biden in all of the key swing states. Biden down 7 points in Arizona compared to Trump. Down, 5 points in Wisconsin. Down 4 points in Nevada. Down 4 points in Georgia. Down 4 points in North Carolina. Down 3 points in Pennsylvania. Down 2 in Michigan. It's not good. It's not good. It's a lot of undecided. It is a lot of undecided. There's a pretty big group of people who are on the fence.
Steve Shives had a great video today. I recommend you watch it if you haven't. He was very fired up about GOP hypocrisy on political violence and what voters need to do now and in the future.
PC Schwartz, thank you for the recommendation. And for the $5 dono. I appreciate both. So, is the interview over? Yes, that first interview is over. And yeah, overall, the issue here is that I know that the attempted assassination of Donald Trump really shifted a lot of the narrative. But I do have to say, I think Joe Biden is kind of still in the weeds. I don't think he's out of the issue. I don't think he's out of the woods on this issue of whether he should run or not. Apparently, we have multiple stories about Nancy Pelosi in the news today, talking about how she's moving behind closed doors to basically to try and convince him to drop out. It's apparently due to some internal polling. Again, this is private efforts to nudge Biden aside continue. But internal polling and the reading of those polls is very bad. And we have one pollster, Stanley Greenberg here, who is highly influential within the DNC, has apparently been sending multiple memos to the Biden inner circle over the last week or so. And apparently, this is how one Democrat described that memo. Lose everything is how one Democrat described the polling memo Greenberg sent out to Biden's inner circle in recent days. Devastating was the one-word answer of a second Democrat close to the White House. Yeah, unironically, we're in a position where we're kind of like rooting for Nancy Pelosi. Like, it's bizarre after how long and how like viscerally I have hated that woman. It is odd to be like rooting for Nancy Pelosi to achieve something. And frankly, part of it might be the fact that like Nancy Pelosi, better than any of the lawmakers in the Democratic Party right now, understands the stakes. Like, she understands what could happen if Donald Trump comes into power and the kinds of people that he would empower and put in charge. Because one of Donald Trump's like true blue supporters broke into her house with a hammer and almost killed her husband. Like, it might be that traumatic experience like genuinely put her on a path to possibly get Biden to bow out. So, yeah, Trump's entire family made jokes about their supporter going to Nancy Pelosi's home and attempting to murder her. Like, I could understand why she would move heaven and earth with her last bit of time in office to try and prevent the Trump victory. Yeah, Trump's son said he was going to dress up as Paul Pelosi for Halloween. Yeah. So, yeah, apparently, several Democratic members of Congress also have continued to lobby privately, these sources said, urging top Biden advisors to consider the damage to Biden's legacy if the president not only loses the White House, but Republicans hold the House and capture the Senate majority, which is unfortunately possible. One Democratic lawmaker told CNN some top Biden aides get the depth of this, but believe it can be turned around, and in any event describe the president as adamant in the belief he can win. Cool. She's also actually smart enough to realize she's old and is stepping away, right? Also, like, people at that level of wealth, you can just have someone drive you wherever you want to go. You don't need to drive yourself anywhere. Ciao, Scoiatolo. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Bad polling. Backroom dealing, wheeling and dealing. very clearly the Biden and AOC influence has had an effect on Biden's rhetoric on the campaign trail. I was listening to the Majority Report earlier today, and they had a really, Sam, I think, gave a really great breakdown of what's going on in their heads, because he was talking about how basically they're hedging their bets because, if Kamala wins, they probably aren't going to get more influence with Kamala Harris. If Trump wins, they're kind of screwed anyway, so that doesn't really matter. And so they're currying favor with the one person who might actually give them anything. And if he wins, then they're going to have way more influence with him, which is good for progressive policy. And I would also add that, coming out, against Biden at this point might be more harmful than beneficial. That was the one aspect of their analysis that I didn't catch any of them saying. But yeah, it's a risky investment, but also I can understand the mental calculus. It's not difficult to understand that they're doing it, one, for concessions, and two, because even if they did come out against Biden, they wouldn't have any effect because they're expected to be against Biden, and also risk polarizing more centrist Dems, to stand alongside Biden. So it's kind of the least lose-lose and the most win-win situation that they can devise. Would the progressives be better off staying silent and giving NPC answers? Yeah. I think that, honestly, in this situation, what we're talking about, and the people who have the influence to get Biden to drop out, they're not the progressives. Progressives coming out in favor of Biden dropping out would only galvanize Biden's support. So I think staying silent and giving support for him in exchange for key concessions is probably a pretty decent strategy. Would you say this election has been worse than the 2020 election so far? I mean, give me another month to have a little bit more objectivity, because this past week, frankly, this past 2 weeks has been insane, and I would like the ride to slow down, please. Oh. You look pretty in green. Thank you, Omega Star. Yeah, I'm not too thrilled with where Biden is right now. It seems pretty. The deck is pretty stacked right now against him, and I know some people say he thrives being an underdog, but I think he has an unsolvable PR problem. Wait, I'm a white lady. Can I talk to the manager of Living in Historical Times? Omega Star, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. Thank you. AOC and Bernie had to back him because they endorsed Biden so early in the campaign. I mean, no, not exactly. There's no way I'm fucking voting for Trump. Yeah, keep in mind, all of this criticism of Biden, I'm still gonna vote for the guy if he's the nominee. I just would prefer he's not the nominee. Yeah, but Mr. Miyagi, Biden has the reputation of being good in the underdog position, whether deserved or no. So, here's hoping it's true. Love your stream. Gotta bounce soon, but I'm happy I found a badass person that cares for the positions they stand for. That is me. Come back soon, Mall Panda. Oh, sorry, Mall Pounda. Not only does he have an unsolvable PR problem, he might turn Virginia of all states red if unlucky. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the polling is grim. But also, like, who knows what could happen in the next week? Let alone the next 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, or 5 weeks, or 6 weeks. You know, we're a ways out from the election. It's several months away, chat. So who knows? You know, it can turn around, and it's likely that Trump fervor will die down as the election gets closer. You know, because of distance from the assassination attempt. I would just say, like, don't get too doomer about the polls. Don't get too doomer about what's happening right now. And frankly, like, remember to breathe, take walks, cry if you need to. Like, I did that today. It's we live in interesting times in not the fun way. This month was fucking wild, yeah. It's my election, I'll cry if I want to. Exactly, Olive Rider, exactly. Yes, also friendly reminder to have your papers ready. I got all of my paperwork together today. I just need to make photocopies. Head to the DMV to get a picture taken. Bada bing, bada boom. There are decades where we fuck around and weeks where we find out. I like that. Rumble in my phone. What paperwork do you need to get a passport? Things like birth certificate, depending on where you are, social security card, photo ID, stuff like that. You can do it at the DMV. Most DMVs will let you apply for a passport, yeah. How'd you smile for pick? Probably you want to give like a small smile, like a very neutral kind of smile. Vosh, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Hello. We're going over the Lester Holt interview shortly. We just went over the complex interview that Biden did earlier today, and just real quick, can I play the right portion of it? We got it right here. Yeah, here we go.
Asian Americans are treated. I mean, what has he done?
Your stance and support for Israel has been unwavering. During the debate, you said that we are the biggest producer of support for Israel of anyone in the world. You also said that we're providing Israel with all the weapons they need and when they need them. Back in April, $26 billion in aid was sent or was approved to be sent to Israel. Why?
I said defensive weapons. I denied them offensive weapons that they were using, 2,000-pound bombs and the rest, because I made it real clear.
But those 500-pound ones, those were okay. You held them back for like a week, and then you sent them. It's okay.
Cannot use weapons that we provide them to, in fact, use in civilian areas. And that's why I put together this plan.
My question, though, is why is your and United States at the current moment support for Israel so strong?
Look, Israel If there weren't an Israel, every Jew in the world would be at risk.
How does he keep saying this? I didn't harp on it when we went through last time, but like, how does he keep saying that? If there weren't an Israel, every Jew in the world would be at risk. What are you saying about the Jews in America? What do you mean? What would your policy suddenly become virulently anti-Semitic if the state of Israel didn't exist? What? Explain yourself. This isn't even the first time he's used that talking point. Like, you can't, that's like, he got prepped. His team okayed that talking point. Because I've heard him make it before. I assumed it was a gaffe, but he's reusing it, so I guess it's not. God damn it. All right. We're done. We're done with this. The talking point, yeah. So, did he fare better in the Lester Holt interview? My guess is no. But you know, it's time for us to find out. And folks, if you're new here, my name's Riverboat Jack. I'm a socialist. I'm a trans lady. And if you're not homophobic or transphobic, you'll follow me on Twitch, subscribe to me on YouTube, and like the YouTube stream. And also consider dropping subs and donos, but only if you're not transphobic. If you are transphobic, don't you dare even think about doing those things. All right. Moving right along. Hope you guys had a good stream. Oh man, I love when they play Fire Emblem music for these things.
Tonight, an NBC News special. The
of the assassin to step aside.
There we go.
Our interview comes as Republicans kick off the first night of their convention in Milwaukee, formally making Mr. Trump their nominee to be the next president. We'll have full.
You guys heard it right. It's just Fire Emblem music. Like, you could just take that music, throw it into the GBA versions of Fire Emblem, it'd fit right in.
Coverage led by my colleague Savannah Guthrie from the convention center
Argonian bum,
after our
aneurysms
interview
to
with the
spare.
president. But earlier today, I started by asking President Biden about his phone call with Mr. Trump after the assassination attempt. Here's our unedited conversation in its entirety.
Oh man, it's a big dick unedited interview. Okay. All right. Unlike that ABC George Stephanopoulos interview, edited to hell. Yeah, that's right. We're NBC News. We do it live, bitches.
President, thank you for sitting down with us. There's a lot to talk about. I'd like to start with the horrible events of last weekend. It has shocked a lot of Americans. A political rally, your opponent, Donald Trump, shot in the middle of greeting his supporters. You spoke to Mr. Trump afterward. Can you give me a sense of that conversation?
Very cordial. I told him how concerned I was and wanted to make sure I knew how he was actually doing. He sounded good. He said he was fine. And he thanked me for calling him. I told him he was literally in the prayers of Jill and me. And I hope his whole family was weathering this.
You were in Delaware when this happened. What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, my God, this is, look, there's so much violence now, the way we talk about it. I mean, the whole notion that there is this, there's no place at all for violence in politics in America. None. Zero. And we've reached a point where it's become too commonplace, not assassinations, but to talk about it. For example, you know, the...
What? Genuinely what? Like, not me trying to highlight something rhetorically, genuinely.
We've reached a point where it's become too commonplace, not assassinations, but to talk about it. For example, you know,
We've reached a place where it's become too common, not assassinations, but to talk about it. For example, did you? Because I'm genuine. Too much violence in the rhetoric. Gotcha.
January 6th, you know, the attack on the Capitol. Lester, I got in this race early on in 2020 for the 2020 race. I wasn't going to run again because I lost my son. I didn't feel, and until I watched what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. Those folks coming out of the woods with torches, carrying swastikas, singing the same Nazi bile. It was accompanied by this Ku Klux Klan, and a young woman was killed. And it was a bystander. And the then president was asked, what do you think? He said, they're very fine people on both sides. Not fine people on both sides. No excuse, zero.
Well, let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an existential threat. On a call a week ago, you said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. There's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate that.
I didn't say
words
crosshairs.
matter.
I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's agenda.
Yeah, the term is bullseye.
It was a mistake to use the word. I didn't say crosshairs. I meant bullseye. I meant focus on it.
Man, this is such a disingenuous. Like, I know I've been real upset at Joe in the last few interviews we've gone over, but like, this is genuinely a bullshit question from Lester Holt. Like, you know, his rhetoric wasn't calling for Donald Trump to be your bullseye target. You know that. Why are you even deigning to like spend our time with this question? You know, like, this is what like the Vinky brains of conservative Twitter are passing around. Like, oh man, here's every time Joe Biden used the word threat in a tweet. And it's like, yeah, but there are lots of different kinds of threats, you know, like, again, just have to say, Lester, where are the questions like this around Republican rhetoric, like when it comes to, say, trans people? You know, where are your questions about that when it comes to, like, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about how trans people are all pedophiles and rapists and someone needs to do something? You know, where's your question about, you know, toning down your rhetoric there? Where's your question about, like, that kind of rhetoric? You know, like, I don't see it get questioned by you, Lester. In fact, it gets disturbingly normalized. It's true. They just fluff up the Republicans. It's so frustrating, man.
Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate. Focus. I mean, there's a whole range of things that, look, I'm not the guy that said, I want to be a dictator on day one. I'm not the guy that refused to accept the outcome of the election. I'm not the guy.
Also, I'm not going to lie, Biden's doing pretty well so far.
Guy who said that won't accept the outcome of this election automatically. You can't only love your country when you win. And so the focus was on what he's saying, and I mean, the idea.
But have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
How the fuck are you asking Joe Biden this question and not Donald Trump? How? Lester, what the hell, man? Like, Donald Trump will literally go out there and be like, yes, we're going to eliminate, we're going to do the largest ethnic cleansing the United States has ever done. And like, we will eliminate all of the rapists and murderers. And we will get rid of the drains on society, the blood that pollutes our country. And like Lester Holt will be, yes, yes, that's just the way Donald Trump talks. Like, it's insane. Like, Trump will verbatim quote Mein Kampf in his speech, and Lester Holt will be like, yes, this isn't actually violent rhetoric at all. Come on now.
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I've not engaged in that rhetoric. Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric. He talks about there'll be a bloodbath if he loses, talking about how he's going to forgive all the, actually, I guess, suspend the sentences of all those who were arrested and sentenced to go to jail because of what happened in the Capitol. I'm not out there making fun of, like, remember the picture of Donald Trump when Nancy Pelosi's husband was hit with a hammer, joking about it?
This doesn't sound like you're turning down the heat, though. You've talked about the...
No. Look, when
Lester, how can one turn down the heat when the heat is coming from the other side of the political spectrum? Lester, the fire's already been lit. It's on the right. Biden's just calling for a firefighter. Come on now.
I'm turning down. We have to stop the whole notion that...
Yeah, like, this is an entire bullshit line of attack against Biden. It's ridiculous.
There are certain things that are contrary to our democracy that we're for. The idea of saying that I didn't win the election, when every court in the land, I don't know, 20 appeals said, including this conservative Supreme Court, said we won. The idea of having a loyalty pledge from all the folks who are in a Republican MAGA, not all Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, saying that, no, we lost the election, inflaming the people to say,
So what can you and what will you do, at least things you can control, to lower down the temperature, the rhetoric out there?
Continue to talk about the things that matter to the American public. It matters whether or not you accept the outcome of elections. It matters whether or not you, for example, talk about how you're going to deal with the border instead of talking about people as being vermin. And those things matter. That's the kind of language that is inflammatory.
Mr. President, you've been in politics a very long time, so let's speak frankly. We're all adults here. Has this shooting changed the trajectory of this race?
I don't know, and you don't know either.
I don't know, but have something you've given thought to?
No,
Megastar, thank you for the 100
I've thought
biddies.
less about the trajectory of the case than two things. One, what his health is, that was secure, number one. And number two, what happens from here on in terms of the kind of coverage that the president and vice president and former president and new vice president get in terms of, look, I've never seen a circumstance where you ride through certain rural areas of the country and people have signs there, big Trump signs with middle signs saying F Biden, and a little kid standing there putting up his middle finger. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that is just inflammatory and a kind of viciousness. It's a very different thing than to say, look, I really disagree with the way he takes care of taxes, the way he wants a $5 trillion tax cut for people who are making a lot of money next time around. Doesn't focus on working class people.
But those are policy issues, and our history is a country that can thoroughly hash out those issues.
And if you notice, what do I talk about with him? The policy issues where he's dividing the country. The policy issues.
This is a good interview from Biden. You know what? So far, knock on wood, this is good. He's doing a good job, like, putting these like bullshit questions in their proper places and providing context. This is good.
issues that relate to democracy.
Another question, if I can, about Saturday. Of course, the former president was wounded. One of his supporters died. A couple more people were seriously injured. Was this a...
I'm actually more impressed by this. Because Lester Holt is being such a big shit in it. You know, like, he's getting hard, unjust questions, and he's handling it like a champ.
Massive security failure.
I have had 2 meetings in the Situation Room with all the intelligence communities, the FBI, Secret Service, et cetera, and I've asked for a totally independent analysis, and we'll see what happens when that comes back.
Do you have do you have confidence in the Secret Service? Do you feel safe?
I feel safe with the Secret Service, but look, and you saw what we did see was the Secret Service who responded risked their lives in responding. They're ready to give their lives to the president. The question is, should they have anticipated what happened? Should they have done what they needed to do to prevent this from happening? That's a question that's an open question.
Is it acceptable that you have still not heard, at least publicly, from the Secret Service director?
Oh, I've heard from them.
But have you heard from her publicly?
Publicly, I've sat down in a...
What the hell are these questions? What does that mean? Like, why does it matter if he's heard from the director of the Secret Service publicly versus privately? Like, that's not a meaningful distinction.
Situation Room downstairs, the Secret Service, the FBI, the National Security Agencies, the Homeland Security, all the major elements. And there's 2 pieces of this, too. And it's not an excuse, it's just nor an explanation. There's a major piece of this relates to domestic, local law enforcement. They play a large role. And so it's a different I'm not saying they weren't competent either. I'm just saying it's a complicated process. And what has changed, by the way, Lester, is, you know me, I like to meet people. I like to walk out, shake hands, move, look at people in the eyes, see what they're thinking. It's really curtailed that ability on my part and everybody's part. And so, because there's a heightened notion that when you say there's nothing wrong with going to the Capitol, breaking in, threatening people, a couple cops dying, hanging up, putting up a noose, a gallows for the former vice president. And somehow and then you say you're going to forgive people for that? You're going to pardon them? That was just a normal response?
This is good.
That is not. I have my entire career voted against and railed against and moved against the idea of violence is never appropriate. Never, 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 never in politics.
All right, I want to ask you about some other developing news today, if I can. Judge Cannon dismissed the documents case, as you may have heard, in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, that was the story I read first thing in the morning, and I was livid. Like, it's not an unexpected method of delaying the trial, and maybe it'll get it in front of a different judge, but, like...
First, get your reaction to that.
What? Yeah, she dismissed it. Like, full stop dismissed it. Luckily, it can still be appealed, and it certainly will be appealed, and it might take it out of her courtroom, which is great. The main issue is that it's going to absolutely succeed in delaying the case until after Election Day. So, yeah. Yeah, Fenry, it's bullshit.
I'm not surprised. It comes from the immunity decision the Supreme Court ruled on, and Clarence Thomas, in his dissent, said that independent prosecutors appointed by the Attorney General aren't legit. That's the basis on which this judge moved to dismiss. And, but I had an independent prosecutor look at me. They spent months on my going through, and I was totally cooperative. In and out of my house, I don't know, the last time in, there were like 10, 12 agents in my house for 9 hours unaccompanied, going through every single thing I had. That's appropriate. And they looked at me and concluded I didn't do a damn thing wrong. But my generic point is that it's, well, the basis upon which the case was thrown out, I find specious because I don't agree with Clarence Thomas' dissent and/or the Supreme Court decision on immunity.
In light of this decision, the delay in the Georgia case, the Supreme Court decision on immunity, which you referenced, the former president has seen a series of legal wins recently. You have actively campaigned on his legal woes. Can you do anything like that anymore?
Sure. I can talk about what I think is appropriate. What I think is appropriate. I think the Supreme Court made a terrible decision. I think
why can't any, again, all the questions that Lester Holt would ask here, like, what are you going to do to put that kind of power that has been handed to you out of reach of any future presidents? Because, like, sure, maybe we can trust you with that, Biden. Can we trust all future presidents? No. But, like, no one asks him, like, a very straightforward question like that. Instead, we get the worst questions on earth from Lester Holt.
The justices he appointed have, in fact, been the most conservative. And I would argue, if you survey constitutional scholarship, they seem out of touch with what the founders intended.
Before this violent turn of events over the weekend, the talk, as you know, was about you and your future, if you should stay in the race. Your allies, James Clyburn, Nancy Pelosi, have kind of put it out there that they're waiting for your decision, giving you time to make your decision. What I hear, made your decision. Are you still comfortable in that decision? Has anything changed in the last several days?
No.
What do you make of people?
Okay, I can say one thing definitively. He's fucking furious. He's furious every single time someone asks him this question. Oh, God.
Anything changed in the last several days?
No.
What do you make of people like Nancy Pelosi, though, who seem to be of the opinion that there is a window for you to make this choice? What aren't they getting?
Look, we knew this was going to be a close race from the moment he announced. The idea that we are in a situation where, if you look at all the polling data shows a lot of different things, but there's no wide gap between us. It's essentially a toss-up race. And I think one of the arguments that get made, you have the most successful presidency of any president in modern history, maybe since Franklin Roosevelt. Passed more major legislation no one thought could get done. We're able to put together a consensus. We're able to unite NATO. We're able to deal in foreign policy. Why don't you just decide?
Look, don't pay attention to the weird moaning noise. Don't pay attention to it. Ignore it like everyone else does, okay? Like an adult.
To rest on those laurels? And the answer is because the job's not finished.
Do you feel like you've weathered the storm on this issue of whether you should be on the ticket or not?
Look, 14 million people voted for me to be the nominee in the Democratic Party, okay? I listened to them.
In your last TV interview, you were asked if you had watched the debate, and your answer was, I don't think so, no. Have you since seen it?
I've seen pieces of it. I've not watched the whole debate.
And the reason I ask, because I guess the question is, are you all on the same page? Are you seeing what they saw, which was moments of, frankly, that appeared to be, you appeared to be confused?
Lester, look, why don't you guys ever talk about the 28 lies he told?
You know, I feel like this is a fair question, frankly.
Where are you on this? Why didn't the press ever talk about that? 28 times it's confirmed he lied in that debate. I had a bad night. I wasn't feeling well at all. And I had been, without it making, I screwed up. But
I just asked the question because the idea that you may or may not have seen what some of these other folks have seen. You're not on the same.
I'd have to see. I was there. I'd have to see it. I was there. And by the way, seriously, you won't answer the question, but why didn't the press talk about all the lies he told?
Well,
I haven't heard anything about that.
We have reported many of the issues that came up during that debate.
No, you haven't.
We'll provide you with them.
God love you.
Okay. President Obama put out a statement after the debate, but should he and Michelle Obama be doing more to express their confidence in you?
No, they're helping me. They've helped me from the beginning. This is my job to get this done.
Have you talked to him recently about this?
I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks.
Have you talked to him since this issue came to light, since the debate?
I don't think, I may have. I don't think so.
Who do you listen to on deeply personal issues, like the decisions whether to stay in the race or not?
Me. Look, I've been doing this a long time.
That's it.
The idea that
all right,
I'm
fair.
the old guy. I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump, number one. And number two, my mental acuity's been pretty damn good. I've gotten more done than any president has in a long, long time, in 3.5 years. So I'm willing to be judged on that. I understand why people say, God, he's 81 years old. Whoa, what's he going to be when he's 83 years old or 84 years old? It's a legitimate question to ask.
I want to ask you about, just shortly before you and I sat down, former President Trump named his vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance. What does that tell you, his qualities? What does that tell you about former President Trump's values in terms of who he will surround himself with in a next administration should he win?
Well, it's not unusual. He's going to surround himself.
Sorry, 1 second.
Read the polls, Jack. Read the polls, Jack.
Okay, there we go.
Read the polls, Jack. Read the polls, Jack.
Sorry, I'm editing this soundboard clip to be a bit louder so it actually can be heard when I play it.
Himself with people who agree completely with him. Have a voting record. I support him. Even though if you go back and listen to the things J.D. Vance said about Trump.
Well, he said some things about you, yeah.
Oh, no, well, he said something about me, but see what he said about Trump. What's with you guys? Come on, man. Look,
Come on,
the
man.
point I'm making is that J.D. Vance has adopted the same policies, no exceptions on abortion, making sure that he supports the new $5 trillion tax cut. That
Yeah,
read the polls, Jack.
nailed it.
Trump wants to give the next administration, signing on to the whole notion of whether or not we're going to, he says there's no climate change happening. I mean, he signed on to the Trump agenda, which he should if he's running with Trump.
Mr. Trump has said he's giving you a chance to redeem yourself, basically the idea of engaging in another debate.
We're going to have another debate.
Yeah, you're going to have one in September that's on the books. Would you be open to doing one in the...
Wait, did he just say we're not going to have another debate?
A chance to redeem yourself, basically the idea of engaging in another debate.
We're going to have another debate.
Yeah, you're going to have one in September that's on the books. Would you be open to doing one in the next few weeks?
I'm going to debate him when we agreed to debate, and I'm going to debate him in September.
But if the opportunity came up to do one between now and then, is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events.
I am the horse.
Met thousands of people, overwhelming crowds, a lot happening. I'm on the horse. What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people.
On the horse, I'm a goddamn centaur. Nay, motherfucker, nay.
that I have command of all my faculties, that I don't need notes, I don't need teleprompter. I can go out and answer any questions at all. And I stood there when NATO was in town. I stood there for an hour and answered questions.
If you were to continue to run and be officially nominated, what happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
What happens if another?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on that on that level?
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
All right. Mr. President, it's always good to talk to you.
I mean, he was doing really good until he got hit with that question. But, like, I feel like at that point, I feel like I mean, maybe the better answer to have there is just, like, to say, if, I'm either, like, definitively, I am not going to mess up like that again. That was a unique confluence of events and situations that will not repeat. Or something along the lines of, like, if I have an episode like that again, or if something like that happens again, I'm the nominee, then, like, I'm committing to, like, stepping down when I get into office. Something along those lines. But, like, that for obvious reasons he wouldn't want to be that candid.
Good to see you. Thank you for making some time for us.
Sometimes come and talk to me about what we should be talking about.
All right.
Okay, the issues.
Always happy to talk.
Sometime come see me and choose not to be an asshole in that time.
That was our unedited conversation with President Biden. We should note we extended the same interview offer to Mr. Trump to sit down with us on the first night of the Democratic National Convention when it happens next month. For now, let me bring in my colleague Savannah Guthrie in Milwaukee with more of our coverage of both our interview and night one of the Republican National Convention. Savannah, good evening.
All right, Lester, thank you. We'll see you here in Milwaukee tomorrow night. Lots to chew over with this interview with President Biden. And I've got Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker with us here in Milwaukee and our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson.
I don't think we need this. I think we're good. I think we're good with what we got. They asked some questions that a lot of people are actively wondering, and so that's good that those questions were asked. But, like, it was a bad interview. Those questions were bad questions. Like, Biden did pretty well considering, like, the hand he was dealt in that interview, but, like, not enough to, like, meaningfully move the needle in any direction. Just enough to make me go, like, okay, he can still kind of do the job. Okay, cool. Didn't previous polls overestimate the Dems? Complicated question. Biden seemed salty at the question of dropping out. Well, yeah, of course. Grandpa's going to be upset when it's time to take the keys. I thought he came across as incoherent as always. I think he was pretty okay in that interview. Like, I don't know exactly how to describe my evaluation outside of the fact that, like, he was still slurring and mumbling at times, but, like, not in a way that made me feel like he was losing words, like, not in a way where he was just, like, mumbling and then petering out and, like, not getting, like, a full thought out, not in that kind of way. He was mumbling in just kind of like a confident old man way, which is different than how he's been mumbling in some of the other interviews. Really? Guys, we right before this, we watched an interview that was way worse in that regard. I would consider it way worse. Yeah, the bar is low here, guys. I didn't get the impression he was having completely coherent thoughts. I think he did. He literally dropped his thoughts multiple times. I think that there was a relative through line of logic and rhetoric that was being employed here that showed he was at least mentally present in a way where some of his other interviews, again, like the one we watched right before this one, it's not quite as clear. The previous interview honestly reduced the amount of confidence this one brought. Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, yeah, that's the frustrating thing about this current news cycle, Taos and Alexa. Like, people just keep saying, like, oh yeah, you called him a fascist. What do you have to say for yourself? And it's just like, he's a fascist. What do you want? I called Hitler Hitler. Oh no. I mean, at least in this one, he didn't proudly declare himself a Zionist and defend sending 500-pound bombs to Israel. So, I mean, that's a major improvement for me. Still no red wave? True. Honestly, Fenry, I think Biden should employ more like simplistic turns of phrase like that. Like, you know, you got to call a spade, and you got to call Trump a fascist. You know, that's just spade's a spade, man. Nick Let's Go fan, of course. How could anyone not be a Nick Let's Go fan? But yeah, overall, not great. Not great in the slightest. Ay. Well, folks, we've now been going for almost 2 hours. If you've been enjoying the show, please hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Because guess what? I know that we currently have, let's see here. We have like 280-ish people in here. And we have 51 likes on the stream. I believe in you guys. I think you guys can hit that like button. I believe in you. And I believe in some of you to drop some subs and donos. Question. Biden has asked the U.S. Secret Service to protect the candidate RFK Jr. because of the attempt on Trump's life. I'm curious why he hasn't ordered them to go protect Cornel West. He's also running as a candidate. Well, because Cornel West isn't a Kennedy. I don't want to be conspiratorial, but it's interesting that white people get protected by the Secret Service. Well, again, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a Kennedy, and 2, he's also the third place candidate, as opposed to Cornel West, who is, I'm going to be honest with you, a joke candidate. There's no actual, like he has about as much chance of winning the election as Vermin Supreme. Or like if I declare my candidacy for president, about as much as I could possibly win the presidency. If I declare that I want to run for president, should I get Secret Service immediately with like, I don't know, 100 people supporting me? No. Also, RFK Jr. sucks. I'd probably vote for Vermin. It's true. You could win more votes than Cornel West. That's true. I could possibly win more votes than Cornel West, but I would never do that. Isn't he a rapist? RF Kennedy Jr.? Yeah, he literally sent an apology letter to the woman he sexually assaulted. So, like... And no one seems to care about that. It's not really alienating his core demographic of divorced, nearing 60-year-old dads. So... If anything, putting the Secret Service on protecting a Kennedy is a bad omen. Fair enough. Fair enough. You know a woman Cornel West tried to rape? What? Wait, I haven't heard anything about this. Like, wait, Cornel West has credible allegations of sexual assault? This is the first I'm hearing about it. She was his student at the time and described it as, I should have known better than to let him get between me and the door. He was known around campus? For real? God damn. He tried to force her into a kiss? Gross. Wow, he better say goodbye to his chances of winning the election. Yeah. So tried to assault would be more correct? Gotcha. Gross. She ducked and ran out the door. Good for her. Okay, guys. We have to listen.
God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Be here.
We have to listen to the most psychopathic, one of the most psychopathic speakers at the RNC, who is also a candidate for governor. Yay! Yay! Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. Why might that title be familiar? Might be because you know how sensitive. You all know how sensitive the Republican Party is to violent rhetoric. They're all very concerned right now about the effects violent rhetoric might have. So of course they wanted their big boy press conference night to be headlined by this guy. The lieutenant governor who said, some folks need killing. They had this guy delivering remarks at the RNC, day one. Here, can I get the full quote here? Oh, God, no, okay. It's time for somebody to say it, he said. It's not a matter of vengeance. It's not a matter of being mean or spiteful. It's a matter of necessity. Right after saying, some folks need killing. He's talking about us, guys. He's talking about us.
It's my birthday and I'll laugh cry at the RNC if I want to. Ooh, oh, 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 BWA.
Thank you for the $5 dono, Gamer G. Thank you for being one of the few people to support stream today. I appreciate you. He's my upcoming new governor. Oh God, Michael, I'm sorry. He's bad news bears. That's the technical term.
Allowing us to live in this blessed and prosperous land. I am Mark Robinson. I am the first black lieutenant governor of North Carolina. And come November, I plan on being the first black governor of North Carolina.
Yeah, who's bragged about wanting to kill half his constituents.
But I am not one of the political elite. I grew up poor as the ninth of 10 kids in Greensboro with an alcoholic father who beat my mother. I love to tell you that I graduated from high school, found success, never worried about money again, but I can't. I lost 2 jobs, 2 manufacturing jobs because of NAFTA, which, by the way, Joe Biden voted for. Politicians in D.C. made bad decisions. People like me suffered. I lost my car and my house.
I am gonna support you too.
LB, thank you for the $5 dono. I appreciate you.
I was desperate. But you know, my story isn't unique.
My wife left me, and then my dog died. And then I wrote a sad country song about it.
A couple of months ago in my travels, I stopped at a gas station. As I was leaving, a man walked out with a beard, and he looked very stressed. He got in his car, and I could see him holding an envelope. My heart dropped, because years ago, I held one just like it. It was bankruptcy papers. I could see the fear on his face. And it took me back to lying awake at night with that gnawing worrying, debating which bills weren't going to get paid. Unfortunately, many families today are having that same experience. Under Joe Biden, grocery prices have skyrocketed.
Wait, did he not stop the guy who got into his car with a beer? Did he just let that guy drink and drive? Did he help that guy? Like what? Did he just see this guy? Like what? I'm confused about the point of starting this story with that.
And gas has nearly doubled. In North Carolina, factories just like the one I worked at are closing, leaving families feeling hopeless. But there is hope, and I'm proof. My wife and I never gave up. We kept our faith. We worked hard and made it through those tough times. Now I stand before you on the verge of becoming the first black governor of North Carolina. As governor, I will not forget where I came from or the struggles of the people.
Oh no, the RNC is haunted.
Oh my God, you guys. Archangel, thank you for the $5 dono.
Quick reminder that consumer prices actually went down in June for the first time since before the pandemic. Also give Jack monies.
Very knifey duck, thank you for the $5 dono and for strengthening my entreaty for subs and donos. Thank you.
People I meet. And you know, there's someone else who will fight just as hard for you. President Donald J.
Unironically, I thought he was going to say Jesus Christ. And instead he said Donald J. Trump. I thought he was going to say Jesus Christ. I was convinced.
Trump. The brave heart of our time, President Trump had our economy roaring. Gas was up below $2. Unemployment was at a historic low. People could afford homes. And we had a president who protected manufacturing jobs. Under President Trump, the American dream was alive and well. Under President Trump, there was hope. And we need that now more than ever.
And now there's only despair.
Let's select the brave heart of our time, Donald J. Trump, to get
the Braveheart of our time? Like the Mel Gibson Braveheart of our time? Complete with anti-Semitic rants? Like what? Did you see that one of the delegates almost said Donald Trump? Wonderful. I can't, man. They genuinely Oh my god. There's a Braveheart Donald Trump bobblehead. I hate
Quick
everything.
reminder that the current unemployment rate is only 1/2 of 1 percentage point higher than the lowest it was under Trump.
God. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I cannot stop puking. Oh god. What? Wait, someone remind me what happens to that character at the end of that movie? Only good things, I would assume. I think he won in the end, right, guys? Oh my god, there are so many layers to this. Oh my god. No, guys, it gets better. It gets fucking better. How it gets better, I can't. Okay. This is the title of the item. Fight Donald Trump as Braveheart Martin Luther King Spirit of 76 U.S. military art. Signed geekly print from original painting by K.A. Hargrave. I don't think this is an original painting, number one. And number two, I didn't realize until just now, all of those things are in the background. Like, Donald Trump as Braveheart is just superimposed over, like, Revolutionary War militia, Martin Luther King Jr., and soldiers. Like, my god, man. These people are hanging on by a thread. These people are hanging on by a thread, man. Oh, god. Sorry. Unique and fun portrait of President Donald J. Trump as Scottish freedom fighter Sir William Wallace. The image is original, unique, and only available from me. Not mass-produced. A great collectible. Okay. Alright. Okay.
Get our economy back on track, restore the American dream, and make America great again. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Okay, who's up next? It was the main one that I had in mind. Oh, it's that weird lady. Guys, it's the weird lady who made like that video that looked like she was taken hostage.
Please welcome United States Senator Katie Britt of Alabama.
Katie Britt, the one who's always weird.
Good evening, Milwaukee. I'm Katie Britt. We are all here tonight for one reason. We need to change the direction
our families
of our
are held
nation.
hostage back at home. And if we
Donald
don't smile,
Trump is the
they'll
change
kill them
we
all.
need.
That's not real. It's just something I tell
To my
myself
fellow moms and
to
dads
motivate
across
myself
America,
when I public
I
speak.
think we all know that raising a family is hard. Add in smartphones and social media, and we already had plenty to worry about.
And I just lost my daughter. She's somewhere out there. Can someone please help me find my daughter? They're very hard to keep track of.
But then Joe Biden and Kamala Harris came around.
And they
Now
did not help
our
me find my
lives
daughter.
are that much more difficult. Under Biden-Harris, prices are high, and expectations, well, they're low.
Okay, I'm glad she has not lost a beat of the desperately smiling because her family's taken hostage vibe that she constantly gives off when she publicly speaks. Like, under Joe Biden, inflation was high.
Under Biden-Harris, prices are high, and expectations, well,
Prices
they're
are
low.
high, and expectations
Grocery
are
prices
low.
up more than 21%. Electricity is up 31%. Gas is up 48%. Mortgage rates have more than doubled, and rent is skyrocketing.
Rent's skyrocketing, everybody. The hills are alive with the sound of rent checks.
To me, these aren't just numbers. This is pain for millions of Americans. It means that so many American families have to live with so much less.
So many families have to live with so much less. Like, her delivery's really bad, and you're the party that constantly makes them make do with less.
This is too high a price to pay for an administration that has brought us to such lows. The American people won't have the wool pulled over our eyes. We see how Biden and Harris keep making things worse. And we know the current president is not capable of turning things around.
Oh, that was an applause line, huh?
His weakness is costing us our opportunity.
Why is she speaking like a robot? Because I'm not convinced that she's not a robot.
Our prosperity, our security, our safety. Each diminished, all in decline.
She is talking like some kind of android robot that you'd see in like season 1 of Star Trek, the original series.
Just like the man in the Oval Office.
It's time to stick it to the man.
And it doesn't have to be this way. Under President Trump, we had the strongest economy in history. That's right. You didn't need to go into debt just to make ends meet. energy dominant, stable prices.
Yeah, it is preacher voice, but like she's doing it wrong in like a horribly off-putting way. Like I know exactly what you're talking about because it's familiar to me too. She's just not good at it. And when you're not good at preacher voice, it sounds so off-putting.
Secure borders, safe streets, strong families and communities. That's what Donald Trump will deliver.
And that's why you need to buy this, the Vita 2 Shake Mixer. I'm so deep in debt, I need at least 5 of you to buy one of these from me. It's a subscription plan for 5 years. It's basically indentured servitude. But if you can get, at least 10 of your friends to buy one from you, then it would really help me out. And maybe make you a little bit of money too.
With President Trump, the tough choice was
It's
which
the fundy
job
woman
offer
voice,
to
yeah.
accept. Now, it's which second job to take just to pay the bills. Your family can't afford this costly and dangerous decline for 4 more years. 4 more years of Biden-Harris will impose a lifetime of financial damage on our children and our nation. It is time to return President Trump to the White House.
Yeah, this is actually what happens when you make a character with 0 charisma in Fallout New Vegas. True story. True story. This is what happens.
Yes. Republicans will put parents, families, and hard-working Americans first. With President Trump back in the White House, we will reawaken the exceptionalism of the greatest nation ever known.
Wait. If you're reawakening America, does that mean you want to make America woke?
Fucking pronouns!
We will defeat decline, dust off our dreams, and forge our future. Because families across our nation deserve better. Once again, America will be the land of limitless opportunity for all. And paving that path starts today. So let's roll up our sleeves
And start slaying our enemies, because that path is littered with the corpses of our foes. What? Oh, I mean, let's get out there and do our best.
Send President Trump back to the White House and get America back on track. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, the theme of the RNC is make America wealthy again.
Can confirm, someone whose stock investments make more than I can at my job and probably work harder, I'm being supported to my climate death.
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. That's very generous of you, and I appreciate it. Yeah, it's, we really need to make America wealthy again. Because, America's wealth has only been going up, and we need to make it even more up, okay? It should be higher up than it is right now. And that's why we need that weird robot lady to save us all. There we go. We learned something new today. Line must go up. You know what? Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing? I'm really glad that they're not talking about, like, the need for Americans to have raw milk. I don't I don't understand the raw milk thing that's going on right now, where people are like, it's the most delicious substance you've ever had. It's like crack. I don't get it. 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 It's so fucking good. I don't get it. I don't know. Is it good enough to risk your life every time you drink some? I don't know. Raw, like unpasteurized? Yeah. No, there's like this subset of people who really love unpasteurized milk. It's weird. It's a conspiracy by Big Salmonella. Yeah. What's the disease you can get from unpasteurized milk? Like so many? It's untreated dairy. Like so many. I like raw meat, but I don't eat it that way. Honey. Hey, Carly. Oh God, I didn't mean for my offhanded comment to rip us apart. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see what Tim Scott has to say.
This is a difficult time for our nation. Inflation is crushing families. Illegal immigration is
Do you think at this point he knew he wasn't going to get the nom? He sounds a little sad.
Crushing American workers, failing schools, and victimhood culture are crushing our poorest kids. And the weakness...
Oh no, dog. He like just found out he wasn't gonna be the guy. He like just found out. He looks like he's about to cry.
Of the commander-in-chief has invited world wars all around our world. Joe Biden is asleep at the wheel and we're headed over a cliff. We hear despair in the voices of a millennial couple raising
Zuni.
2 kids in a 1-bedroom apartment because they can't afford a house. We see pain on the faces of Gold Star parents.
Wait, he got married?
It's raw milk, not raw salmon. Checkmate germs. Smooth.
What? Federer, thank you for the $5 dono. Also, he got married? I didn't hear about this. I knew there were rumors that he was gay, but I didn't know that he got married to a lady during like the last few months in order to stop that. When did that happen? They put their wedding date between the RNC and Election Day. Okay, so they haven't gotten married yet. They haven't gotten married. What? They got married last year? No. Dad, you're gonna have to explain why he and his fiance set their wedding date between the RNC and Election Day of this year. Yeah, I think they're gonna break off this engagement. Something in my bones tells me. He kept getting assumed gay, so donors weren't backing him. After the news article broke, he suddenly became engaged to a woman he's never talked about before. Oh man, dog. You know what? Good for that lady. She probably made bank off of that.
Because their commander-in-chief, Joe Biden, literally forgets their son died in uniform on his watch. America, we deserve better. We deserve so much better. I was raised by a single mom in poverty. We had plastic spoons, not silver spoons. But she taught me to work hard, to take responsibility, and reject victimhood.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, we're not the only ones thinking about it, okay? HuffPost over here. People jokingly worry, about Tim Scott's engagement after Trump picks Vance for VP. Scott was so secretive about his love life that even 6 of his friends admitted to the Washington Post last September they were unaware he had a woman in his life. Yo, dog, this marriage is so done. Holy moly. There's no way. There's no way. She's a single mom of 3? Nah, dog. Oh man, okay, wait. I need to fall down this rabbit hole real quick. Guys. We need to watch this interview of them together. I insist on it. We need to find out. Okay, we need to learn more about this beard relationship. This woman made so much money off of this, I'm sure. Let me put in my ears. Let's go. Damn, she's 47. She looks pretty good. She looks pretty good for 47.
Speculation runs wild over who will be Donald Trump's running mate. Fox and Friends is profiling his top contenders and the people who know them best.
So we sat down with Senator Tim Scott and his fiancee Mindy at their church in South Carolina. Take a look.
Mindy, thank you so much for sitting down with us. Y'all kept your relationship quiet for a long time. And then next thing we know, you proposed in
January 20th, yeah.
Okay, Kiowa Island.
Kiowa Island.
Well, it was one of the coldest days in January this year. I got out there and
Yeah, you know, I really love going to Hawaii when it's freezing. Right? Was that in Hawaii, right?
It was a beautiful Kiowa sunset and
What location are they talking about? Kiowa Island is a gated community. Is it in Hawaii or is it like, where is it? I guess I assumed it was Hawaii because Kiowa sounds like a Hawaiian island. So it's in South Carolina. Ah, yes. I also love proposing on the coldest day outside hurriedly in a non-romantic way.
Cold as a
it was
dickens.
very cold. I had my gloves on, and he told me to take my gloves off. I said, no, I'm going to keep them on.
Yeah.
It's chilly.
Yeah. So we're walking out to
Until
the
you
beach.
saw the ring.
Yes. Well,
Until I saw him get on his knee. I was like, okay.
Exactly. Going down to my knee, I just felt this wave of emotion hit me like a ton of bricks. And I was like, I really want to spend the rest of my life with this woman. And what a blessing.
So, Mindy, tell us your story. Start from the beginning, how you met.
So we had mutual friends. Originally, they were trying to set us up on a pickleball date. We talked on the phone for about an hour and a half.
A pickleball date? What the hell is pickleball? Because it sounds like a euphemism, but it can't possibly be one, right? He hypnotized her? He's a hypnotist. I saw that episode of One Piece.
First phone call.
He is really coming off.
Our
He
family.
is really coming off in this interview like, oh man, I love women in a very heterosexual, romantic way.
It's our faith, and we actually decided to do a Bible study that day together. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. This was like heaven sent.
How did you know he was the one?
How did you know?
Honestly, God comes in and he gives you signs, and he just shows you. He shows you the path.
Did you ever think you'd meet your wife?
A guy comes in, he offers you money to pretend to be his fiance for a few months. He shows you the path and like gives you the talking points. That, you know, it's really handy in that way.
Life here?
No, I mean,
so
I've been
nice.
friends for years and years and years. And then the first conversation, she laughed. I was like, I love her a lot. She understands devotion to country. She loves the Lord. We go to the same church. And you love the Lord, attractive, families devoted to the country.
Dude, he's literally listing the things off. He's literally like counting them off because he rehearsed them beforehand, man. Oh my God.
It's a pretty good deal.
I'm sorry, I know I'm being real pause champ here, but like, guys, I've met the love of my life who I want to marry. And if I ever talked about about her like this, like it would be like the biggest red flag. If you ever heard me talking about my partner like this, it would be because I'm being held at gunpoint and I need you to like call the police to my location, you know? Like this like something's wrong, you know? Yeah, she really understands loving America. Also, not one of her top qualities, you know? Like that's not a quality that a real human being who genuinely and deeply loves my partner, not a quality I would list anywhere near the top.
What was your response when on the View, those ladies, when they suggested that you got engaged just so you could be a vice presidential candidate?
Yeah, they're just ridiculous, period, honestly.
They're just ridiculous, honestly. Have you seen some of Whoopi's outfits? Have you seen them? It's like she and her stylist are blind.
It's not just the comments that they make about me. They get paid to tear people down.
How do you handle criticism when you hear someone say something negative about him or upset that he is a black man and he is not a Democrat? How does that affect you?
I try to refocus and not stay there. And I go to prayer.
So, with the debate, Joe Biden's hunkering down, Donald Trump's having all these rallies. Have you been helping him?
One of the things I'd say to President Trump for the debate prep is never forget the provocative racial past of Joe Biden.
I thought he was gonna say of America. I thought he was gonna say never forget the provocative racial past of America. It's like, I don't know that. Frankly, can we be candid here? I don't think it's a good area for Trump to attack Biden on, because Trump literally didn't want to hire black people at his casinos or rent his apartments to black people. Like, that's a matter of historical record right there. So I don't think that it's really beneficial for him to go down that road. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think that's bad advice on Tim Scott's part.
Donald Trump has done more for progress from a racial perspective economically than any president in my lifetime. He should focus on that.
Mindy, how do you help prepare him for politics?
I'm a good listener. I do pride myself on that. And I'll pray. I'll do a lot of praying. I think
You know, she's playing the part well.
being a prayer warrior for him, supporting him, being a listener.
Tim Scott's beard looks like
just
Sarah
loving on
Jessica
him.
Parker ordered on Temu. Tell me I am wrong.
You know what? You're correct to a degree, but also, like, I think she looks pretty good for being like, almost, well, in her 50s, right? Like 57, someone said? 47. Gotcha. I think she looks pretty good. And also, like, let's be nice. Let's be nice to her. We don't have to be mean. Like, she's working it, okay? She's part of the proletariat. She's putting in the work, okay? It's not easy to be Tim Scott's beard, all right? She's a rough 47. My God, have you guys ever, like, been to Middle America? In Middle America, like, at 47, you look way worse than that. Fake, my fake wife.
I think that's my role.
I know you have a thriving business here, and you're a designer. Are you ready to go from South Carolina, if he is the VP pick, to Washington, D.C., be in the public eye? How do you feel?
Wow, yeah, that's a big deal. But I think, I love what I do. I started flipping properties about 5 years ago. It's not like work. I get up every day and I just love what I do. Wherever Tim and I land, I think we're going to both put our personal touches on whatever home that is.
What about your platform? Have you thought about that?
Well, with my father was a Navy pilot, and my brothers all went to military college, and just instilled foundation, American values, and faith. And
I like how none of the interview questions have been about her, but she hasn't really talked about anything about herself. Really? But we've now learned more about like her brothers and like her dad. It's she's playing the part well.
Family and tradition. I mean, Navy wives don't get the credit that they deserve because it's truly amazing. That's always been important to me. The service.
Who is Tim Scott?
He's.
I don't know, lady. I'm just paid to be here.
Devoted. He's devoted to his Lord and Savior. He's devoted to his family. He's devoted to his friends, and he's devoted to his country.
Brought together
and
by
to me,
pickleball.
question mark?
Your favorite sport.
Right.
They're getting married on August 3rd. They're at the church at Seacoast Church in South Carolina, and she said she will become Mrs. Scott.
Yeah, I mean, to me, with the military background, remember his brother's in the military too, as a military officer. His mom lives real close over there. And Lawrence, real quick, I think Tim Scott is still on that high on that list.
Literally no one on screen right now believes that Tim Scott is a heterosexual. Literally not a single one of them.
Really
actually pretty incredible. Sorry, that was a major sidetrack, but we needed to know.
Thank God for my wonderful mama. I know.
What about your wife?
I know this is going to offend the liberal elites. Every time I say it, it offends them. But
is your wife here to support you?
Time.
Your wife to be?
America is not a racist country.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm pretty sure on the bill you're showing on screen, there's probably a president that either owned slaves or did like war crimes against the Native Americans, or ethnically cleansed state soil. Like, I have a feeling the historical figures you ensconce yourself within might have those connotations.
No, we're not. But if you were looking for racism today, you'd find it in cities run by Democrats. Look on the...
Wait, but I thought America's not a racist country, so is it a racist country or isn't it? Because you're saying that the racism actually is there. It's just in Democrat cities. So America is a racist country, but it's the Democrats' fault? ?
The South, look on the south side of Chicago. Poor black kids trapped in failing schools. Thousands shot every single year, including one of my former interns, Daquan. But there's good news. It's conservative values that restores hope. It's Republican policies that lifts people up.
Oh, so you're saying that under Republicans, the south side of Chicago will rise again? And maybe other parts of America as well? Is that what you're saying, Tim Scott?
I partnered with the greatest president of my generation, President Donald J. Trump.
Hey, Richie Buzz.
On the biggest tax cuts ever for working people and single moms, and opportunity zones for neighborhoods.
Working people and single moms, like my beautiful soon-to-be wife, whom I love very much in a very passionate and deep heterosexual way that will last forever, and certainly not until a few weeks after the Republican National Convention.
That need the most. But
as soon as I find out whether or not I'm getting a cabinet position.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they give illegal immigrants free hotel rooms while our veterans sleep
should also get free hotel rooms, yes.
On the streets. Disgusting. Disgusting.
To be clear, they also don't want to solve the homeless veteran problem.
Trump secured our border once, and Donald Trump will secure it again.
Remember when Donald Trump was president and he had the ability to build use billions of dollars for like the border wall and like patrolling the border wall and all that, but seemingly in a weird turn of events didn't have the money to build any housing for veterans. That's crazy. Strange where the priorities lie.
This November, we are not deciding simply the fate for the next 4 years. We're setting a course for the next 40 years. I see our heartland filled with huge American factories, powered.
Huge American factories where big, strapping men go to work every day and then go home to their wives.
By abundant American energy, building what America needs, creating generational wealth for blue-collar
Trans Girl
workers.
Jade.
You see, we are the Republican Party of Frederick Douglass and of Abraham Lincoln.
You guys literally aren't, because the Republican Party under those figures was the left party. It was the left-leaning party under those figures. It was literally like if you took that party and transplanted it into 2024, it would align most closely with the people you hate the most.
Of Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump.
God.
But
I guess it makes sense that they like Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump, two men with apparent brain damage.
4 more years. I love it.
I need to read that out loud. Only the oiliest twinks will squeeze between the still rotating gears of industry For our new OSHA free America. Exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. We are not simply the party of our leaders. We are also the party of a young woman in Wisconsin taking over her family farm, an Hispanic father working 16-hour days in Nevada, and a black teenager in Philly starving for opportunity. We're not just the grand old party of the past. We are the great opportunity party of America's future. And there's only, hear me clearly, and there's only one person who can make that.
He tried, see, he just tried to do preacher speak too. You guys heard it, right? If only, you know, like.
And there's only, hear me clearly, and there's only one person who can make that vision a reality.
Oh, his voice cracked like a teenager in puberty. That was actually kind of endearing. He's really bad at this.
Donald J. Trump. God bless America.
Oh, man. Tim Scott, I hope you get laid by a nice gay boy at you know, at the RNC. Okay, I know Grindr is going crazy right now. I hope you hook up. You know, you earned yourself like a treat for making it through the last several months pretending to be a heterosexual who's about to get married. So you know, like, you deserve a treat. You do you, pal. Okay, get a nice rosé. And you know, just go to town. A nice bear in his life could fix him. Oh, that would be a cute dynamic, yeah. Dead Domain proved it's a thing. Oh, it's absolutely a thing. I can tell you that just from like osmosis of getting like random people in my DMs. Absolutely a thing. Not gonna lie, this is more fun than I expected it to be. These people are all insane, but like, I don't know, it's kind of fun to watch them be insane. Tim Scott also chooses the bear. True. Chasers in DMs, yeah. I used to be an OnlyFans girl before I took an arrow to the knee, and I was pretty good at it. Got some you know, conservative political figures in my DMs. No one you would know. Just it did happen. Let's see. Well, folks, we've been going for almost 3 hours now. If you've been enjoying stream, please hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on the YouTube stream. We're still sitting at 69 likes, which is very nice, but I think you can do a lot better, okay, chat? Looking lovely as always. Thank you, actual Karl Marx. I see you've been reading theory. $420 likes. I will accept nothing less. Never realized before Tim Scott is such a flat public speaker. Oh yeah, he's bad at it. It is not his thing. Let's do another one. Another! Is this Doug Burgum?
Joe must go.
Dude did Botox. It's been a hot minute since I saw a picture of him. He did Botox.
Good evening. I'm Glenn Youngkin.
Oh no, it's Glenn Youngkin. Never mind. He always looks like that.
The governor. The governor of the home of Washington, Jefferson, Madison.
Can I just say it's a credit to, oh God, what's his name? What's the name of the actor who does Forrest Gump? What's the name of the actor who does Forrest Gump, chat? Tom Hanks. It's a credit to Tom Hanks' acting ability that when I look at this guy, all I can see is Tom Hanks in like a weird amount of makeup. Forrest Whitaker? No.
And Monroe, the great Commonwealth of Virginia.
Glenn Youngkin is worst timeline Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Tonight, we stop for a moment. We ask for God's grace to be on innocent victims. We ask him to be with their families. We thank him for this moment.
Well, if God's grace was on them, they wouldn't be victims, would they? Right? Like, right? Like, I don't know.
Of unity.
I don't want to go down this moral rabbit hole.
And we thank him for protecting our next president, Donald J. Trump.
Does kind of look like the governor from The Walking Dead, yeah.
And tonight, our nation can have the conversation that so many families have at their kitchen tables. Yes, those tough conversations. How do we make it all work? The conversation young families from Midlothian, Virginia till Milwaukee, Wisconsin, whose dreams of buying a home have been shattered by 7.5% mortgage rates. The veterans from Fredericksburg, Virginia to Phoenix, Arizona, whose raises can't keep up with 30% increases in grocery prices and 40% increases in gas. The retirees from Roanoke.
Oh God, yeah, Phosphorus. I didn't think about that, but yeah, the local kink dungeons must make a killing when the RNC comes around. A lot of these guys in suits really into that.
Virginia to Reno, Nevada, whose fixed income has been crushed by the silent thief of inflation unleashed.
My sources are the people who work in those dungeons.
By Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Tonight, America, the land of opportunity, just doesn't feel like that anymore. But 8 years ago,
the vibe of wealth is no longer there. We need to bring back the wealth vibes to America.
8 years ago, there was an outsider, a businessman, who stepped out of his career to rebuild a great nation with the
That businessman's name? Adolf Hitler. No.
The strongest economy.
The name of that small businessman?
Mightiest military. Energy independence. Unlimited opportunity lifting up every American. That outsider businessman was Donald J. Trump, and he will do it again. I'm proud to be a homegrown Virginian, from a family like a lot of families, with ups and downs and highs and lows. My mom was a nurse, and she was my hero. She pulled our family together after my dad lost his job. At 15, washing dishes and flipping eggs, I learned that there is dignity in work.
At 15 years old, I had to work because a horrific tragedy befell my family, and I want the same tragedy to befall all families in America. What? Like, how does that make sense? How does it make sense for you to advocate for putting all families in the places you administer in the same economic vice your family was put in? Like, come on, guy. Like, no 15-year-old should have to work to help to make their own family's ends meet, okay?
At the height of the pandemic 4 years ago, I asked my amazing wife, Suzanne, to go on a walk with.
Oh, incidentally, just as an FYI, McDonald's was literally just fined for putting 10-year-olds to work. I was going to cover this story. Ugh. Oh, goodness. Hiccups. Here we go. Yeah. 10-year-olds found working at McDonald's until 2 a.m. More than 300 of them, actually. More than 300 of them at only a handful of McDonald's locations. Child labor is on the rise in the U.S. The federal government announced a crackdown earlier this year. Oh,
Got to go to
Dragonfly.
bed. Big day tomorrow. Getting my name changed. Can't believe I was still in the closet only a month ago. Thank you, Jack and Chat, for being kind.
Well, congrats on being out of the closet, Dragonfly, and thank you for the tier 4 sub. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry, yes. 300 minors to 10-year-olds. True. Good catch. Are you ready for the coming cyberpunk future? No. Oh, Nightbot, why are you being so mad about links? I'm sorry. Not your fault, Pensive Scarlet. Yeah, let's see. What did they do? What did they do? 3 separate franchisees that oversee more than 60 McDonald's locations across Kentucky, Indiana, Maryland, and Ohio employed 305 children to work more than the legally permitted hours and perform tasks prohibited by law for young workers. Interesting. Let's see. They prepared and distributed food orders, cleaned the store, worked at a drive-thru window, and operated a register, the labor department said. One of the kids was also allowed to operate a deep fryer, which was prohibited for workers under 16. Yeah. Cool stuff. Anyway, hey, maybe we shouldn't be striving for a country where 10-year-olds are in the workplace, you know? Though I guess their tiny little hands might be able to, get in and out of the flaming hot temperatures of the deep fat fryer, a little bit faster than an adult's slow, decrepit hands. So, I don't know. Maybe they just need to, just be real fast in and out there. Cha-cha! You know? I worked a lot as a kid, and it fucking sucked, dude. Yeah, you should have been playing. It makes sense. Just a month ago, I was at McDonald's, got served by someone who looked 12, and another 12-year-old was working the kitchen. I was thinking they got child labor and they're going to be in trouble. Yeah, but you know what? This is kind of the kicker, right? This is kind of the kicker here. Can we pull this up real quick? There we go. Got it. All right. So these 3 McDonald's franchises with 62 locations with over 300 child employees illegally employed. How much do you suppose McDonald's was fined? How much do you suppose those 3 franchisees were fined in total? The answer is $212,000 roundabouts. So 6 figures. But like, let's just do one quick piece of math. 212, I'll even add the additional dollars, divided among 305, I believe was the number. That comes out to around $696.86 per child. So, I guess when you're employing child labor, that's, you can expect to pay a fine of around $700 per child that you have employed, which, frankly, given that you're employing children, you're probably not paying them very well. Yeah, it's good value for the crime, I guess. Something, a law isn't really a law if you can just pay a fine. Anyway.
With me. I told her I planned to quit my job and run for governor. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and a quivering lip and asked, "Governor of what?" We prayed together, and we asked God for guidance and wisdom, and we said if elected, we would serve. After 12 years of only electing Democrats statewide, in November 2021, Virginians elected a Republican outside businessman as their 74th governor. And I believe this year, Virginia will elect another Republican outside businessman as President of the United States. President Trump proved that common sense conservative leadership works. It works for America. And we're proving it in Virginia, too. $5 billion of tax relief, backing the blue.
What?
Blue works. President Trump proved that common sense conservative leadership works. It works for America. And we're proving it in Virginia, too. $5 billion of tax relief, backing the blue.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the comma in between there. I was just like, wait, how does that much tax relief help police? I don't understand.
Slashing red tape, declaring loudly that yes, parents matter. And creating jobs, lots of jobs. Virginia now has record job growth, and we were just named America's top state for business. Friends, could this election be more simple? It's common sense versus chaos. It's strength versus weakness. Friends, it's not just Republicans who see this. It's Republicans, independents, and lots of Democrats. It's Americans. Under President Trump, America had high growth and low inflation. Under Joe Biden, America has low growth and high inflation. 66% of Americans now live paycheck to paycheck. Moms and dads worrying, can they buy new shoes for their kids going back to school? Can they write the tuition check for college? Will they ever be able to retire? Under President Trump, 2.4 million Americans were lifted out of poverty. Women, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans all saw record low employment. Under Donald J. Trump, we once again will have that rip-roaring economy that lifts up all Americans. That is our tomorrow. A tomorrow where work is celebrated, where taxes are cut, and inflation.
Where you keep cutting these taxes. What kinds of services are you getting rid of? Like they never talk about that part. They always talk about cutting taxes, cutting taxes, cutting taxes. Those taxes get used to fund things. So what's getting cut? Is it the community park budget? Is it like the budget that allows you to have a baseball field? A budget that keeps the community center open? A budget that repairs the roads? A budget that helps get people back on their feet after they get fired from their jobs unexpectedly? Well, yeah, that's the thing, Dr. Deletus. They never talk about what gets cut along with the taxes, because ultimately they want those things cut anyway so they can be privatized.
Is slashed, where we cut red tape, where we unleash American energy dominance, where businesses proudly say, "Made in America." Where entrepreneurs dream and small businesses thrive, where Americans from any background can pour their God-given talents into building their American dream. This is the moment. This is our moment to make America the land of opportunity again. A nation.
What happens when the oil and coal runs out? Then we start drilling in Greenland, baby. Then we start drilling in Antarctica, baby.
Built on a basic truth that we are granted certain unalienable rights, not by a king, but by
Wait, is American energy screwed? Absolutely not. Frankly, we could just build nuclear power plants all over the place.
Almighty Creator, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our foundational principles are non-negotiable. They are inscribed on our national soul. My fellow Americans, the spirit of hope is spreading. Everyone can feel it, and it will sweep across this nation when we elect Donald J. Trump, the 47th President of the United States. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Please welcome the CEO.
I'm not gonna lie, I am about to forget that man even exists. That was such a nothing speech. They've already all forgotten who he is. Storm's hitting hard now. Oh God, it's Kristi Noem. Do you think she's gonna talk about shooting her dog again?
You all look fantastic. I love the cowboy hats. And a shout out to South Dakota. Hi. Woo. Listen, I'm Governor Kristi Noem from the great state of South Dakota. Leadership has consequences. it matters who's in the White House. Now, I've been governor under both President Trump and Joe Biden.
Both.
And people ask me all the time, what's the biggest difference?
Yeah, she has the eyes of a mad woman. Like the kind of eyes a woman who would shoot her own puppy looks, would look. Just hypothetically, I'm pulling that one just out of thin air.
And I tell them that President Trump honored the Constitution. He let me do my job.
And he let me shoot those dogs. Wait, dogs plural? You shot multiple dogs? I shot all the dogs I saw.
And he let me keep my people free.
What? Wait, what does that mean?
Now, leadership on the state level, it matters too. Constitution. He let me do my job. And he let me keep my people free.
What does that mean? Is she talking about COVID? Yeah, what people is she talking about?
Now, leadership on the state level, it matters too. It certainly mattered in South Dakota. I am so proud to say that South Dakota's strong economy has been a beacon of freedom for America. Most of you probably first heard about me during COVID, didn't you? Because South Dakota was the only state in the country that stayed open for business.
Okay, yeah, she is talking about COVID.
We didn't mandate anything. We never ordered a single business or a church to close.
Just don't ever go on a hike with Kristi Noem, okay? If you like you're decent way into your hike and you're like, oh man, I need to take a rest. I need to sit on this stump. My dogs are barking. She's gonna draw. You're gonna be in the line of fire. It's gonna be real nasty.
Never even defined what an essential business was, because I don't believe that the government has the authority to tell you that your business isn't essential. When other states were pushing mandates and lockdowns, instead in South Dakota, we hit the gas. We embraced liberty. We told our story and we invited people to come and to enjoy our beautiful state. Now, all of the things that conservatives have always talked about, we just did it.
You could go on a hike with Kristi Noem or a hunting trip with Dick Cheney. Which one would you go on? Honestly, probably the Dick Cheney one. Not gonna lie. Didn't Dick Cheney have a gay daughter or something? We'd have something in common.
And it worked.
I'm gay. His daughter's gay. It would work out.
Our economy took off. And since I've been governor, we broke the national record for the lowest unemployment rate in American history at 1.8%. In South Dakota, everybody works. We paid off state debts and bonds. We fixed dams and bridges. We built roads. We have a fully funded pension plan and a AAA credit rating. We broke records for surpluses, and we balance our budget every single year.
Wow.
And last year in South Dakota, we passed the largest tax cut in South Dakota history.
Cool.
Under my administration, incomes in our state have gone up 36%. Women-owned businesses are thriving.
I'm sorry, what? Income in South Dakota up 37%, did she say?
Up 36%.
36%. Let's see here. Oh, the data in her speech was a bit off. You don't say. Let's see. Da-da-da. Okay. Noem drew up another metaphor to hoist South Dakota high by talking of South Dakota's economic and workforce boons, low unemployment, improving infrastructure, record surpluses. Okay. Since I've been governor, we broke the national record for lowest unemployment rate in American history at 1.8%. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics indeed reported in June 2023 that South Dakota's unemployment rate, a preliminary figure, as the state noted in the related press release, reached a record-breaking mark. But the agency, which is a function of the U.S. Department of Labor, later revised these figures. Instead, the Bureau's latest data shows South Dakota's unemployment rate was actually 2% and tied the record of 1.9% from February 2023 to May 2023. Okay. I mean, 1.8, 2%, roughly the same. Not that big of a fib. Let's see. Okay, this is the one I wanted to know about. Noem also said incomes have gone up over 36% under her administration, but she didn't specifically refer to South Dakota incomes in her remarks. The State Department of Labor and Regulation shows that the median household income in 2019, the year Noem took office, was $60,414 and increased 14.4% to $70,597 or not percent dollars by 2022. The latest year state data has been recorded. So whoops, we don't know where the additional percentages came from. Wild stuff. Did you all hear about SiegeSec? I did hear about SiegeSec.
Women-owned businesses are thriving. We also have the highest birth rate in the nation. People are having babies because they're happy.
Wow, they're happy and in an economically beneficial environment, so they're having more babies. That's crazy. Who could have guessed?
And in South Dakota, we love babies.
Yeah, if you're not in South Dakota, you hate babies.
Down. Our suicide rates are declining, and we are the #1 state in the country for a decline in overdoses because people have hope. We're growing so fast that we needed more workers to catch up. So we launched the most successful workforce recruitment campaign in the history of South Dakota. And they have come by the thousands to join us and to live with us. Do you guys remember those ads when I was a really...
Oh, yeah, no. So for those of you who might not know, right now the Republicans in America are obsessed with birth rate. It, of course, ties into Great Replacement theory, the idea that the Democrats or some group of elites, usually in conservative circles, the Jews, they believe that that these groups are manipulating immigration to the United States to basically outbreed white people because they think white people are more likely to vote like left-leaning, they think immigrants and black and brown people are more likely to vote left-leaning, and thus this is the Great Replacement theory that the Democrats are, or George Soros is going to replace all the white people with brown people, and they're going to vote for Nancy Pelosi for president. You know, that's the insane fantasy world they all live in, you know? So when she talks about like the birth rate is increasing, that's her way of letting her base know that she's breeding the next generation of white people in South Dakota, essentially.
really lousy plumber and a really terrible electrician. Do you remember those? Well, since we started those ads, we have seen a 78% increase in licensed plumbers in the state of South Dakota. We've seen a 44% increase in electricians in our state. Now, people aren't moving to South Dakota for our beaches or for our beautiful January weather.
They're moving there for our hot electricians.
For opportunity and for freedom. And all of this happened.
The opportunity to get dicked down by a strapping electrician. Or a strapped-on electrician, if you know what I'm saying.
And because our people were bold. We took action, and I was strong. Now, South Dakota proved that freedom will make America wealthy again. And with President Trump in the White House, with Senator J.D. Vance by his side, we will prove it across America.
Yeah, J.D. Vance got the nod for vice president, so cool stuff. That guy sucks.
Listen, 2 days ago, the whole world changed. Evil displayed itself in the very worst way, through a cowardly act. An innocent American lost his life, and we will continue to lift his family up in our prayers every single day. Prior to this week, we already knew that President Donald Trump was a fighter.
Yes, she has been banned from ancestral lands in South Dakota, so that's one good thing.
He is the toughest man that I have ever met. Nobody has endured more than what he has gone through.
It's actually kind of insane that this is the first speech we've listened to where anyone mentions that someone tried to kill Donald Trump.
Attacked his reputation, they impeached him, they tried to bankrupt him, and they unjustly prosecuted him. But even in the most perilous moment this week, his instinct was to stand and to fight. Donald J. Trump is our man in the arena. He will never stop fighting for us. He will never stop, and now he is bringing all of us together. Now, I know that many of you are angry, but now is the time to unite. And we have to get to work. We have to win the hearts and minds of every single American. Wake them up with truth and with wisdom. We need to listen to them. You can't win people over by arguing with them. Visit with your neighbors, at your job.
I'm actually frankly, I'm kind of shocked they don't just have, like, images of him, like, calling for, like, supporters to fight on despite being shot. Like, I'm surprised they don't have that image, like, plastered, like, everywhere. I would think that would be everywhere at the RNC and, like, a main piece of, like, their stage, you know? Like, their stage design.
At your church, at the gas station, or even at the grocery store. Listen, there are moments in our history, often after great hardship and tragedy, when true leaders unite our country. At one time, President Lincoln, he united our country. He delivered my favorite presidential address of all time. In fact, it's the only speech or poem or song that I ever made my kids memorize when they were young, when they were little.
Oh my God.
It was the Gettysburg Address.
Oh my God.
And it was delivered during our nation's bloodiest conflict.
Why did you made your children memorize it? Why? That's such an arbitrary thing to make them memorize.
That speech so inspired people that they continued to fight for years, and they lost loved ones in order to preserve this union we call the United States of America.
Well, and to end slavery. That part too.
Now, at that time, President Lincoln encouraged us to take increased devotion, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that a government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. Like Lincoln, in the midst of our pain and division, Donald Trump is calling us to be touched by the better.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. Sorry, I just noticed when she was like, "Oh, look at that cowboy hat. That's real nice." I thought she was like pointing to like one person or like a couple people, not like an entire section of the audience that is just people wearing these obnoxious white cowboy hats. I just noticed this portion of the audience down here. Are you kidding me right now? I thought it was an offhanded comment.
Have to go to bed before this cult makes me sick. Have a good night, Chad and Jack. Don't let the brain rot keep you up all night. Be safe all.
You get good sleep, Richie Buzz. Thanks for subscribing with Prime. I appreciate it.
Angels of our nature. As Paul wrote in 2 Timothy, God has
gotta you gotta show respect to the Yosemite Sam contingent that they sent out.
not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. We must not be afraid. Even in our darkest days, we have never once given up hope. So don't quit on America. If we lose this country, where else will we go that provides more freedom and opportunity for our kids and our grandkids? And I've got 3 grandkids, and I'm counting on a whole lot more. And yes, democracy.
You have 3 grandkids? God damn. Okay.
Can be messy, but there is a great invisible strength to a people.
Wait, I'm sorry. How old is Kristi Noem? She's 52 and she has 3 grandkids? What the hell? That seems really young to be a grandma. Like, real young.
People's Union. We have shown the world that we can endure sacrifice and that we can still unite. We should still aspire to be worthy of this union, America. President Donald J. Trump is the leader we need for such a time as this. So now, I need you to get to work. Get out there, go do it. Don't quit. Keep fighting, keep uniting, keep talking to people, win the hearts and minds, and may God bless you, and may God continue to bless the great United States of America. Thank you.
Donald Trump's surprise visit to a
My stepsister was a grandma at 32. What the hell? That's crazy. 3 generations of teen pregnancies. Her mom was a great grandma at 48. Holy moly. Anyway, Kristi Noem is insane. And folks, we have been going for 3.5 hours. If you've been enjoying the show, please hit the follow button on Twitch, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, like the goddamn YouTube stream, and consider dropping those sweet, sweet subs and donos, because this show is ultimately brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you. Your donos and subs are what allow me to continue making this here program. And hopefully I make staring at the horrors of the world a little bit easier, a little bit better. Okay? Because, like, Holy shit, I doomered hard today. I doomered too close to the sun. But it's gonna be okay, folks. I think it's gonna be okay. Like, we're in a bad situation. Joe Biden is down, but he's not out. He's not out of the running. And frankly, we're still not even sure if we're stuck with Joe Biden. I think given that Nancy Pelosi seems to be throwing her full effort into getting him out, I think we will get him out. Or at the very least, broker power in some way where, like, you know, the Dems will hold off, like, full on condemning Biden for continuing to run. But he'll then, like, transfer power to Kamala. Something like that. I don't know. All I know is that I think we're going to be okay. And you're telling me there's a chance? There's a chance. I'm telling you, there's a chance. There are no more efforts. There are literally, like, multiple news stories from today about how there's an ongoing effort led by, like, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. So it's not over yet. The assassination attempt only really bought Biden, like, a couple days of time, not, like, forever time. I'm from Utah, having grandkids super young is common here. Really? That's so fascinating. Anyway, folks, I started this stream late. I started it at, like, midnight or a little bit after midnight, and now it is almost 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm gonna go to bed because I'm really, I was really sad and upset and doomery today, and I need to get sleep. I'm sorry, spicy diarrhea. I gotta go. Raid tofu? I can do that. Also, thanks for telling me I look kind of cute. I appreciate it. I've been doing a lot of editing the last few days, and when I look at myself a lot, I tend to think very mean things about myself. But here you go.
TED Talk about? Hold on, what the fuck did he do a TED Talk about?